Don't know if I'm fading, but your movements got me open, and the music got me feeling so right. And I seen you from a distance, wondering if you be with it, cause I want you to take me there all night. We can just turn up, keep it right here. Show the thing that move it right there. Dance slowly, put it right there. Just put it right there, just put it right there. Or live life, it's all about us. Turning up till we can't get enough. Live fast, stop free in your life. Let me show you what it's like, let me show you what it looks like. Kissing me, 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 girls keep kissing me, 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 kissing me. Girl, I can see it in your body. This ain't your first time being naughty, but it might just be the last time for real. Cause I can't take it any longer. The way you move make me feel stronger, and I know just how this ends for us too. So we can just turn up, keep it right here. Show the thing that move it right there. Dance slowly, put it right there. Just put it right there, just put it right there. Oh, live life, it's all about us. Turning up till we can't get enough. Live fast, stop free in your life. I'ma show you what it's like, I'ma show you what it looks like. Kissing me, 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 girls keep kissing me, 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 kissing me. Even when I wake up, baby, you know I always find my way. Right next to your heart, I know you never fall, and you gon' always be my baby. Because you show me what love is now, and I don't ever have to guess now. I put it on my heart, I give you everything, and baby, you gon' always be my best friend. Through the rain and the dark of night, even when the sun don't shine, you and me gon' be here, babe, cause we shine, we shine. Baby, you and I, baby, we gon' make it to the end of time. This loving is forever, you should know by now. And I'ma always love you cause it's you and I, ooh, baby, you and I, baby, we gon' be here to the end of time. This loving is forever, you should know by now. And I'ma always love you cause it's you and I, ooh, now we can run away, babe, wherever you wanna go. My heart is in your hand, just take me where you are, and we can go far now. Two hearts beating now, to the rhythm of one now. Love you for who you are, you making me a man, you always understand. Through the rain and the dark of night, even when the sun don't shine, you and me gon' be here, babe, cause we shine, we shine. Baby, you and I, baby, we gon' make it to the end of time. This loving is forever, you should know by now. And I'ma always love you cause it's you and I, ooh, baby, you and I, baby, we gon' be here to the end of time. This loving is forever, you should know by now. And I'ma always love you cause it's you and I, ooh,
To us last night, we almost hit a red light, but I don't wanna stop to see us go. The love we had was airtight, but then you left by midnight, and I ain't get to see your face anymore. Here we go again. I thought I had a friend, but you always leave when it rains. And when I'm on the edge, you turn around again and tell me life just ain't the same. Round and round and round we go. Same old song, we're going nowhere, nowhere. Round and round we go. Same old song, we're going nowhere, nowhere. We always do the same things. We always play the same games. And it will never stop till we say no more. We try to do it your way, but always get the same thing. So tell me, do you know what we're fighting for? Here we go again. I thought I had a friend, but you always leave when it rains. And when I'm on the edge, you turn around again and tell me life just ain't the same. Round and round we go. Same old song, we're going nowhere, nowhere. Round and round we go. Same old song, we're going nowhere, nowhere.
Hope's on the other side of mountains we gotta climb, and clouds move until the dawn of a brand new day. Fear moves into the past of dark days that couldn't last, and doubt gives away to passion. A brand new day. Hope brings true. Hope brings true. A brand new day. Hope brings true. Hope brings true. Hope's on the other side of mountains we gotta climb, and clouds move until the dawn of a brand new day. Fear moves into the past of dark days that couldn't last, and doubt gives away to passion. A brand new day. Hope brings true. Hope brings true. A brand new day. Hope brings true. Hope brings true. A brand new day. When the fear falls numb inside, and the tears you've cried run dry, tomorrow brings new life. Ooh, ooh, a new day is on the rise. Ooh,
I wanna see you smile again. Now the storm is over. Your best chapter begins. You're gonna win. I wanna see you smile again. I wanna see you smile again. Now the storm is over. Your best chapter begins. You're gonna win. I wanna see you smile again. Yeah, oh, 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 oh. Yeah, oh, 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 oh. Your best chapter begins. You're gonna win. I wanna see you smile again. I wanna see you smile again. Now the storm is over. Your best chapter begins. You're gonna win. I wanna see you smile again. I wanna see you smile again. Now the storm is over. Your best chapter begins. You're gonna win. I wanna see you smile again. Yeah, oh, 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 oh. Yeah, oh, 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 oh. Your best chapter begins. You're gonna win. I wanna see you smile again.
Times are strange, but the hope won't fade. I'll be okay. We'll be okay. The walls they cave, still the strong remain. You'll be okay. We'll be okay. Ooh. a dream drifts away and your world comes crashing down, there's a new dream with your name. It will lift you from the ground, so rise up and take it. I promise that you'll make it. Yeah. Oh, when a dream drifts away and your world comes crashing down, there's a new dream with your name. It will lift you from the ground, so rise up and take it. I promise that you'll make it. Yeah. Mama told me the sun shines brighter right after the rain, and she showed me the love grows stronger right after the pain. And I know the smiles glow wider when trouble has gone, and together we'll walk through the fire. You're never alone. Mama told me the sun shines brighter right after the rain, and she showed me the love grows stronger right after the pain. And I know the smiles glow wider when when trouble has gone, and together we'll walk through the fire. You're never alone.
Is this moment real, or am I living a dream? I feel my heart bursting, pulling hard at my seams. If you stay here a little bit longer, I can give you everything I am. Oh, if you stay. Oh, if you stay. If you stay.
When I first saw you, were fireworks in my sky. I wanna have our own secrets, just you and I. If you stay here a little bit longer, I can give you everything I am. Oh, if you stay. Oh, if you stay. Just lie here a little bit longer. I can tell you all my crazy plans. Oh, if you stay. Oh, if you stay. If you stay. If you stay.
Yeah, walk in the club, head to the back. VIP, Louis, cognac. DJ booth like the 4th of July. Light show strobing, ladies look fly. I was on a mission, looking for the right one. Caught the eye of a girl like the bright sun. She had a look that I can't describe. Get down to the funk, it's time to get live.
Let's funk it up, come on. 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 dance floor, feel the groove. Get on down, you got nothing to prove.
Yeah, let's get down to the funky sound.
Say what the car wants, give you a look, but I didn't say hi. Cut off jeans, oh my, one drip down your thigh. Say what the car wants, give you a look, but I didn't say hi. Cut off jeans, oh my, one drip down your side. Get on down, everybody, let's raise the roof.
Turn it up, raise the roof. Everybody get down tonight. Turn it up, raise the roof. We're gonna rock to the morning light. Turn it up, raise the roof. Everybody get down tonight. Turn it up, raise the roof. We're gonna rock to the morning light. Here we go, let's rock, let's roll. Uptown, downtown, New York, Brooklyn.
Say what the car wants, give you a look, but I didn't say hi. Cut off jeans, oh my, one drip down your thigh. Stick with me, street to rock, up, down, funky stuff. Girls on the dance floor, feel the groove. Get on down, you got nothing to prove.
East, west.
Get on down, everybody, let's raise the roof.
Turn it up, raise the roof. Everybody get down tonight. Turn it up, raise the roof. We're gonna rock to the morning light. Turn it up, raise the roof. Everybody get down tonight. Turn it up, raise the roof. We're gonna rock to the morning light.
I know that you're good for me, and I know that I'm good for you. The things you would do for me are the things I would do for you. I know that you're good for me, and I know that I'm good for you. The things you would do for me are the things I would do for you.
Get down, funk you up. Everybody get down to the funky stuff.
Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me, baby.
Get down, funk you up. Everybody get down to the funky stuff.
Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me, baby. I know that you're good for me, and I know that I'm good for you. The things you would do for me are the things I would do for you. I know that you're good for me, and I know that I'm good for you. The things you would do for me are the things I would do for you. Give it to me. Give it to me, baby. Give it to me, give it to me. Give it to me, baby.
Get down, funk you up. Everybody get down to the funky stuff. Get down, funk you up. Everybody get down to the funky stuff.
I know that you're good for me, and I know that I'm good for you. The things you would do for me are the things I would do for you. I know that you're good for me, and I know that I'm good for you. The things you would do for me are the things I would do for you. Take my hand.
voice in your ear. For the ceiling, I want your feet moving until you can't take another step out on my dance floor. I want your body high, fire burning up the sky, shaking fast, fast like you're going into shock. I want your feet moving until you can't take another step out on my dance
Don't know if I'm fading, but your movements got me open, and the music got me feeling so right. And I seen you from a distance, wondering if you be with it, cause I want you to take me there all night. We can just turn up, keep it right here.
哈喽，大家好，我是解说西普。云顶之羽公开赛全国总决赛举办在即，在这里就由我为大家介绍一下本次赛事的一些细节内容。16名来自各个赛道的选手将在全国总决赛的3个阶段内进行角逐。首先是突围赛阶段，接着是复活赛阶段，最后是总决赛阶段。突围赛阶段，16名选手将被分为 A、B 两组，在2个比赛日内 ，A、B 两组各赛1天，每天进行3场积分赛。 A、B 两组每组的第1、第2名直接晋级总决赛，第7、第8名则直接被淘汰，而剩余选手每组第3到第6名选手将进入复活赛阶段。在复活赛阶段中，突围赛中每组的第3名到第6名选手将合并为一组，进行3场积分赛，积分最高的前4名将幸运被复活，进入全国总决赛，其余4名选手将遗憾无缘总决赛。在总决赛阶段，复活赛晋级的4位选手和突围赛晋级的4位选手将进行多场积分赛，积分赛分为2个阶段。第1阶段，选手需要通过尽可能高的排名积攒积分来获得夺冠资格。第2阶段，当选手积满16分获得夺冠资格后，率先获得1场积分赛第1名的选手成为总决赛冠军，至此总决赛赛程全部结束。当然，除了总决赛冠军外，还会有2位选手有资格进入全球总决赛，他们分别是除了总决赛冠军之外，在总决赛不包括突围赛和复活赛中积分最高的选手，以及除了冠军和总决赛积分最高选手外，突围赛、复活赛以及总决赛3场积分总和中单场个人均分最高的选手。好了，相信大家对于这次云顶之弈公开赛全国总决赛赛事规则也有了一定的了解。8月18日至21日，让我们共同见证全国总冠军的诞生。
Sun don't shine, you and me gon' be here, babe, 'cause we shine, baby, you and I, baby, we gon' make it to the end of time, this loving is forever, you should know by now, and I'ma always love you 'cause it's you and I, ooh, baby, you and I, baby, we gon' be here to the end of time, this loving is forever, you should know by now, and I'ma always love you 'cause it's you and I, ooh, we can run away, babe, wherever you wanna go, my heart is in your hand, just take me where you are, and we can go far now, 2 hearts beating now, to the rhythm of one now, love you for who you are, you making me a man, you always understand, through the rain and the dark of night, even when the sun don't shine, you and me gon' be here, babe, 'cause we shine, baby, you and I, baby, we gon' make it to the end of time, this loving is forever, you should know by now, and I'ma always love you 'cause it's you and I, ooh, baby, you and I, baby, we gon' be here to the end of time, this loving is forever, you should know by now, and I'ma always love you 'cause it's you and I, ooh,
to us last night. We almost hit a red light, but I don't wanna stop to see us go. The love we had was airtight, but then you left by midnight, and I ain't get to see your face anymore. Here we go again. I thought I had a friend, but you always leave when it rains. And when I'm on the edge, you turn around again and tell me life just ain't the same. Round and round and round we
Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time, welcome to the TFT Open Championship, also known as the TOC. I'm Asterix. This is Dagda. We are normally LPL casters, but we're putting that on the shelf here today and for the next couple of days while we run through a bit of TFT action. Of course, it is a not new field, but not as old as League of Legends, but we're still running through it.
Yeah, and I'm very excited to get back into the TFT ways. I've been playing it for a while behind the scenes. I've done a little bit of casting of it before, so excited to kind of flex those muscles.
Hey, but you do everything, though. I almost called you baby. You do everything.
Off gear.
Yeah, that's all right. You know, we'll get to Valorant next. You'll be like, well, I've been playing this for years, and you haven't seen that. But, of course, here in the TFT Open Championship, as we start off the regional finals for China, we're going to tell you a little bit about the format and how everything's going to work. There is a lot to go through, so we'll make this as easy as possible. We've already come through the online division, the streamer division, and the Rising Star division. We have taken 12 players from those 3 divisions and 4 seeded players of choosing to participate in the regional finals of TOC. 3 players from this regional finals in total will qualify for the Galaxy's Championship, of course, the global competition.
Exactly, but the way that these players will find themselves into our day-to-day is going to be through that group stage, which we will be picking over to now, where what will happen is you've got Group A and Group B that will take part as of today and tomorrow. The top 2 from those tournaments will progress, and they will go, the next 3 to 6 will move over towards the redemption bracket, which is where they have an opportunity on day number 3 to redeem themselves and put themselves into our final, which will happen on the 4th day. But looking at our format for group stage, we'll see it there. The way that this works is we will have a best of 3. The people that get the most points through those 3 games will decide who will advance and who will be dropping out.
Of course, all the information on your screen here. Point structure as well, very crucial. As Dagda just said, 3rd to 6th place will get that redemption bracket on the 3rd day, so there is a second chance for them to re-qualify. And it'll be interesting to see because you don't want to get 7th or 8th. You're out straight away. It's as simple as that. And how qualifications work down below as well. Now, the redemption bracket is where our 3rd to 6th place teams will go. And it'll be 8 players from the group stage that will participate once again in 3 matches. And according to points, will be based on placement. And the top 4 out of this, which means we cut it in half, will be going and proceeding to the finals with the other 4 that made it through each individual group.
Yeah, the 2 that have made it from Group A, the 2 that have made it from Group B, and the 4 from our redemption bracket will face off on our final day. Points stay the same throughout, so that point structure is all the same. But that big thing is our final day. The finals here is a little bit funky. What you have to do is the first person to hit 16 points and then get a first place finish will be crowned our champion. The person with the most points as of that point in time where we have crowned our champion will also advance to the Galaxy Championship, and then our player with the highest average points on our final day as well will then progress alongside the other 2 players.
Okay, so a bit hard to grasp here, but on the final day it will be re-explained to you again. You could be there for a very long time if things get a little bit wacky, or it could be a pretty quick finish here to the TOC on that final day. Again, running over 4 days, and today is the very start. So we'll run forward because, as my friend Dagda here beside me has been telling me all rehearsal long, he knows a lot about TFT.
I attempt to know a lot about TFT. Sir. This is going to be the test to find out if it is actually the case.
Let's take everyone in, because before we meet the players, before we meet everyone, we need to talk a little bit about the Galaxies through here, of course. Changing into set 3, we now have Galaxies, we don't have Rules of the Rift anymore, and we have a couple little changes that people need to know about. We'll get that up for you very shortly, but Galaxies are important and will influence the days ahead.
Exactly. So one of the big things looking at the Galaxies is more so the different compositions that stand out on those galaxies. For example, on the Dwarf Planet Galaxy, where you lose that back row, something like Mech stands out a lot more because of that shorter board state. You can have that Mech ultimate hit a lot more people, get the demolition, extra stun, which will help out massively. Then when you look over towards something like a trade sector there, that's going to be great because you can go for those early rerolls. So look towards compositions like maybe the Zaya compositions that we can see coming through. Treasure Trove, great for the likes of Cybernetics. These are kind of the different styles that we'll see off of the Galaxies, and we'll be keeping our eye on as we go out throughout today.
Super important, of course. The Salvage World is the most recently released one in 10.16, if not mistaken, and can be a bit of a pain in the neck, as I found out today. First-hand experience, but it is good to keep track of this, ladies and gentlemen. We will be bringing this up, and remember this in the back of your mind as well. But moving forward, we need to find out a little bit about our players as well. And coming through, we have 8 players here today in Group A. Some of them very, very familiar. And so we're going to show you exactly who you're dealing with here today. And a little bit about each and every player on the Rift as well. On the Rift, on the Convergence, on the Convergence. The Convergence. Yes. Oh boy, we'll get used to this. And meeting our players, important. So let's show you what they got.
Yeah, and the big thing here is that a lot of our players, apart from only, I think, 1 or 2, are actually sitting up in Challenger in the Ionian server. So these are people that are very well versed in these games. They have gone through a lot to get here today, and you will see them on your screens here now.
All right, first up, AlphaGo. You got Tsinghua, Moonlight, Zhuanzi, Beta, HN, Koro, and Shikuka. Now, the bottom 2, people should know Koro from EDG. Back in the good old days, Shikuka was actually Kiddies who used to play with Kid on IG. And if there's any LPL fans out there, you'll see those bottom 2 and get a little bit excited.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see those guys back in action, and I'm excited to see what we're going to have today, because when we look at each of our competitors, they each have their own unique styles. And when we look at Achin here, you can look towards the likes of the Astro, you can already see with the Bard, also moving towards those space pirates a lot, using the Gangplank and the Darius. This is more a composition that will tend towards the late game, so expect this guy, if he doesn't get his Blade Master composition, to be looking towards that level 9 where he can try and round out these more expensive compositions.
He was the 2nd place of the Rising Star Division. Of course, he is a streamer as well over in Huya and Doyu, I believe it. Regrets that he has not played LoL professionally, while for AlphaGo, 5th place of the online division, big fan of League of Legends too, focuses on operational thinking and strategic ability.
And I'm going to put this out there now. Shaco is a character that we're going to see throughout this, because it's one of the most prominent styles of Chinese TFT is going for the Shaco carry. But looking at the rest of the folks around it, you're still seeing those 6 Blade Master compositions worming their way in there, alongside the Cybernetics for AlphaGo here, alongside Darkstar. So they're expecting to see this guy is more the variety style, and I expect him to do well, as we've seen in other TFT tournaments globally.
And has been performing really well recently, as you see in the average last 10 games. Moving forward though, because we do have 8 players in this group and we've got a lot to go through, with Beta being the 3rd. The only one here who is on the Bilgewater server. If people aren't familiar with how the Chinese server works, Ionian is the most popular one, and considering how many players there are in the player base, we do have like 15, 20 servers, and Beta here on his own.
Unpopular server, but most popular composition. He'll be looking for that mech comp. You can see it there. This is definitely one that has been very consistent throughout TFT tournaments and even on your ladder. So expect him to be going towards that. We'll have to just see if he is going to hard force or if he is a pivoter at the end of the day.
Well, he doesn't give up for anything. So for Beta, that's going to be a very good look as we progress forward, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not forget that in this start, I mentioned Zhuanzi as well. He's the winner of the Streamer Doyu division. He is a TFT streamer too, and loves board games, so tactical thinking will be very crucial for him running it.
And you can see there, definitely a fan of the Blade Masters, but also that Rebel composition as well. So they're expecting him to go towards some of these early recurve bows to try and start things off and getting himself onto the right footing here. So I think definitely a lot of our players will be looking for that Blade Master composition, but it's more of a case of if you can get those recurves to let that composition work.
Yeah, so early items, and also noticing the Shaco in there as his most used, as we talked about a little bit before. Progressing forward, though, is Koro. Hello, sir. It's been a while. I haven't actually gotten to cast him, as it was way before my time, but he's one of our seeded players, a Doyu TFT idol, match champion, a match made in heaven, that should say, is a former LPL professional player you all remember from EDG. Bit of a high economy here, sir.
He does, definitely. That's the way Koro likes to play, is tending towards those more high econ games, so we can hit that level 9 and then start looking for more of these expensive legendary units, like the Gangplank, like this Echo. You can see a little touch of the Darkstar in there, but definitely he's been tending more so towards those late game compositions, rather than hitting that level 8. You really want to be hitting level 9 in the current meta if you want to be hitting those first, second place finishes.
Really powering with an Infiltrator as well. But last but not least, Shikuka, who is renamed. No, sorry, we're going to Moonlight. I was just ready for the next pro player. It's Moonlight instead. And apparently I can't count either. The winner of the online division is a school student, a member of the Alpha Gaming TFT organization. Another high economy, you'd say, with another trend for Moonlight.
Yeah, definitely see a little bit of the Astro Snipers in there with the Jin. Still tending towards those Blade Masters, especially when you see the likes of the Aurelia in there. That Aurelian Sol as well can play that Blade Master Rebel style of composition. The Demolitionist fits in quite well with the Rebel style as well. So we'll have to see what Moonlight decides to go with on the day. Definitely another player that is quite flexible in his compositions. So I'm excited to see how he can place here today.
Am I right in saying last but not least? I think we still got two more. Well, hey, we got Xinghua there as well. Third place of online and a division. Is a veteran LoL player and was challenger ranked during Season 6 and Season 8. So good to see some more experience running in and a very different composition being built and being prioritized than others.
One of the few guys that's still going towards these protectors is the Star Guardian Sorcerers, so we'll be looking to see him trying to pick up these early tiers, trying to get that Syndra online, especially with the likes of the GA on the Nico and the Warmogs, the Ionic Spark, providing that front line that just enables this Syndra super well. So we're waiting to see what Xinghua can bring out here today, but I imagine that he'll still have some competition for his favorite comp.
Yeah, I think seeing a diversification here running through our Group A is going to be interesting to watch. Next up, am I right? Yes, I am. Previously known as Kitties and is a seeded player, a former LPL Pro player on Invictus Gaming, has unique insights on TFT and Dagda. You know, I see a Mana Reaver there. I see some high-cost units as well.
I mean, it might be unique insights on TFT, but it's an Astro Sniper. That is exactly what he plays. He's going to be looking to go towards the more Vanguard-orientated build, where he will be tending towards the Nautilus and then going up towards having that Chrono coming in with the Thresh as well, where you can pair that with the Wukong, and then just having that nice Mystic backline with the Lulu, and then obviously the Paragon with the Janna. But definitely looking more towards those Astro Snipers.
I was definitely right saying last not least that time around, wasn't I? As Shikoka will finish off our group number A, and that's you meeting the players. And a lot to talk about here. We do have a open segment where we're going to be running through as much as we can before we run into the games. Remember, there is only 3 games here today, and the top 2 with the most points will progress through out of this Group A, out of 8, with 3rd to 6 going down to the redemption bracket. So let's talk a little bit about TFT and Dagda, another segment where I'm going to throw you right on into it because I know you'll survive, absolutely. We're going to talk about the compositions we will start to see and how the meta has changed to this point where, at the moment, we're seeing a lot more of the 6-Blade Master.
Yeah, definitely a composition that is super strong if you can get those right components. You are heavily reliant on getting that Rapid Fire and that Runin's Hurricane for that Master Yi. Although, if you fail to find those, there are different variants that you can go for in the late game where you can tend in towards the Rebels and then have Aurelian Sol as your late game carry, or go towards those Cybernetics, keeping the Fiora, adding the Aurelia, and then adding that Echo in the later stages as well.
I also like the fact that we're talking about Master Yi on the side there being a key piece. An annoyance to a lot of players, but also seeing the item diversity with the 2 core at his side.
Yeah, this is where we're going to be... this is a composition that you can definitely, if you can get it up off the ground, is absolutely fantastic. The hardest thing is because you're so reliant on a bunch of recurve bows, and once you start to add these pieces of the Exodia together, a lot of people just go, right, I'm just going to take these recurve bows, I'm going to stop you from being able to play this composition because it is so heavily reliant on that Master Yi. It's a composition that spikes around the level 7 even, rather than what you'd usually expect towards that level 8, where they start to round out compositions for our other compositions that we'll be showing you.
Okay, well, let's move forward here because other compositions, we do have a lot to talk about. This one being the space part with a blend. You're talking in rehearsal.
Yeah, what you're trying to do here is get your 4 space pirates, but obviously a composition that, because Gangplank is a legendary unit, you need to start hitting that level 8, level 9 realistically before you can get it. You've only got a 1% chance at level 7, so maybe you manage to strike gold there, but overall, you're going to be relying on this Jinx in the mid-game to provide that blaster backline that can do a lot of damage, a lot of work alongside this Jace, who oftentimes you'll end up with a Hextech Gunblade on, Ionic Spark, and then start to move in towards your late game where you have the opportunity to pick up the Gangplank and then have all these items rolling in off of that 4 space pirates and just look to out-itemize your opponent.
Because once you do, you just feel like it's GG go next, especially GP with double Rabadons. Like, if you get your items on this core carry, the nuke of an ultimate, I think
it's disgusting.
It really is. It's one that's sitting up there at the moment, I think, is an S-tier ultimate, but
Oh,
you
yeah.
are 5 cost units.
He's the strongest ult in the game right now. I mean, at 10-16, he got buffed, and it's just been absolutely incredible.
It's
If
the
you can
mob.
2-star him, he'll just one-shot the entire board.
Yeah, very true. Well, we move forward. We do have one composition we need to talk about. Now, we know we haven't talked anything about Astro Snipers. It's very straightforward, but here, Mech Sorcerer, still very prevalent, as a lot of our 10-16 users will know.
And one of the most common builds that we'll probably see today, we've seen it throughout all the other TFT tournaments that were happening, where it's just super stable. You can have multiple different carries, where we see the Victor on the screen here with the blue buff and the Relonomicon, but you've also got the Shaco in here that can provide that Infiltrator, so you can build off of him, going for the Rapid Fire Cannon, into that Bloodthirster, and a GA on him. He can be monstrous as well. So just the flexibility that this comp offers is just really good. You have to make sure, though, you do get that early Shroud, because if that front line of your mech gets Zephyred, well, then it's easy pickings for everyone on the enemy's team to jump onto your back line, kill them off before they go and focus the actual attack.
And what I like about this as well is we talk about upgrades, and what we've seen on our previous graphics too is transition periods feels very smooth for this composition, and how you can play it out. You talk about seeing it a lot here today. Well, for Mech Sorcerer, we do feel like we're stepping, you know, calmly and not really rushing and hoping and rolling the dice as much.
Yeah, it's a composition that comes on a little bit earlier. It's just because you've got to try and find the Annie, the Rumble, and the Fizz, sometimes you can get trolled a bit by the RNG. You're not quite able to find the one. But especially if you've, like, I've seen a couple of times where you roll, you end up with a Fizz, you end up with the Rumble, and you're just spamming trying to find the Annie, and it's just not happening. So we'll have to see if that is going to be the case today. But definitely, those are the main compositions alongside the Astro Sniper, which we haven't quite shown, are the main ones that I'm going to be keeping my eyes on here today.
Is there anything else you think people should be looking out for here? Anything that's been annoying for you? We do have a couple of minutes before we see our players walk onto stage here for today.
Well, I think if we've got a bit of time, I think Astro Sniper is definitely a composition that we should look at, because, again, it's a composition that you can survive with two different carries. You can either go towards the Teemo, which is, again, that blue buff and the Relonomicon, or going over towards Jin and trying to go for Infinity Edge in towards that last Whisper. So then you obviously get the guaranteed crits off of every single auto attack.
Okay.
The last Whisper provides 75% armor shred, so you end up just being able to burst through a bunch of these tanks, and it works out super, super well. But we'll have to see if that is a style that teams are going to go for here, or whether we're going to see them teeter off into some of the more other prevalent styles.
I mean, we also have to talk about things like, you know, Dark Style being prevalent just generally, and has been for a little bit too, when we see elements like that Jin being part of the carry.
Oh yeah, and especially when you look towards like how
Shaco.
strong Shaco is, yeah,
Oh my
how
God.
strong Jin is. There's even some of the compositions like the P-back composition, which is pretty hard to get, but that's where you hit that level 9, you just fill in your composition with a bunch of the legendaries like Reliant Sol, the Echo, your protectors in the Nico and the Urgot. Like, this is a composition that is kind of like a, I'm going to win this game. So I'm curious to see, especially the ideas from different players coming in here today, because obviously there's the argument of, well, if I want to go for consistency, do I want to be trying to hit those, you know, that 3rd, 4th place finish, just making sure I'm in that top 4 bracket, or am I going to be going all out and making sure that I'm trying to hit that level 9, get the correct items, having the just strongest composition on the day so I can get those 1st to 2nd place finishes? Because one of the points you had before we started today was that if you do finish 1st twice, you're pretty much guaranteed that
bare minimum 8, you get 1 point. Right, and so you hit on 21, and even if you come 2nd, 3rd, or 2nd again, then you might be able to take over with getting 8, 16, and then 6 below, which is 22. You'll beat by 1 point, but there is no other role that can catch up. So getting first 2 times, bare minimum hits you top 2. So if we have a consistent winner, then they'll secure themselves forward. Remember, again, you hit that top 2. It is the easy route to hitting the final day. You essentially have those 2 days to recover, break away, and then come back finally and try and get top 3.
Yeah, and if we are looking at those compositions that tend to hit that top spot finish, the number 1, number 2, you're definitely looking at the Cybernetics, which has been becoming more and more prevalent as we've watched the global TFT tournaments. Particularly if you can try and get something like that Infiltrator Spatula onto the Aurelia, she just becomes such a massive carry. And for Cybernetics, they tend to struggle against stuff like the Star Guardian Sorcerers. But if you can have that Infiltrator spat on the Aurelia, between her and the Echo both diving that backline, it actually means that then the Star Guardian Sorcs don't really have an opportunity to play against it. So I think that's one that we will probably see a lot, especially if we end up with these carousels where a Spatula is like a full Spatula carousel, or maybe an early Spatula tends to drop. People may start to weave their way in towards those Cybernetics. Some of the other ones, as we talked about, the Mech is super, super strong. The Star Guardian Sorcs, even Rebels, to a certain extent, is having a comeback.
It'll be interesting to see, ladies and gentlemen. We are going towards our lineups, though, as we have Candace on stage. Good evening, everyone in front of the screen, and welcome to the League of Legends Teamfight Tactics Open Championship. This, as I just mentioned, is Candace, who is today's host. I'm Hysterix, just going to dub it for you. Before we even realized the little legends on the chessboard had been with us for more than a year, and I'm already tearing up. From the ice and fire of the rise of elements, to the rise of elements, excuse me, to the starry celestials of our galaxy. Well, doing a great job so far, Dagda. On this chessboard, we jointly wrote a paragraph of legends. Today on the stage, at the top of the arena, 16 players are gathered here where they'll have rounds of fierce battles and compete for 3 tickets to the Teamfight Tactics Galaxies Championship. We want to know who will stand out. Board the spaceship with us and let's sail across the Milky Way, because we'll find out together. Now, let us welcome our Group A stage players to the stage. The 5th place of the online division. First up is AlphaGo. The winner of the streamer division, Beta, coming out on stage now. I wish I had this in my bedroom. Look great, wouldn't it? Yeah. Imagine lying on your bed looking up, you'd fall asleep straight away. The 3rd place of the online division coming out next is Qinghua. The 2nd place of the Rising Star division, Chen. The winner of the online division, Moonlight. Great name to be out here in the galaxy, I'd say.
Unfair advantage.
Unfair, he's higher than anyone else up in the night sky. The winner of the streamer, the Douyu division coming out next is Zhuanzi. Now, seeded player number 1, I'm just going to say, we remember him from EDG and from Worlds. It's Koro. I didn't get to cast him, you know, back in the day. It was a while ago. The man, a legend in his own field, but spotting out. And next to him, another legend, another seeded player is known as Shikoka there on your screen. But previously, on Invictus Gaming as Kiddies, will be the final member of Group Number A. All 8 players on stage here, and they are ready. Now, let us be with our little legends and fly into the Galaxy War. Couldn't have said it better myself.
You did say it yourself, which helped.
Thank you to Candace, who legendary presenter here in the, I guess this is not the LPL, but in the LPL itself, Candace is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. And I suppose, looking at today, we're going to get to see how a lot of these players are going to get accustomed to playing on a stage. Because don't forget, you've got obviously you can have the streaming at home, you can have whatever platform you try to play on, but coming onto a stage like this, you can even see there for Zhuanzi, he was looking a little bit nervous on the stage. And struggling to take a drink.
All right.
So I think this is the case where there's a kind of been a bit of a trend across the other regions where players that consistently perform in the ladder actually haven't been able to perform in these championship moments, because it is a very different environment. And even when you look at the pressure on your decision making, where am I combining items, do I hang on, what is the minute details, even down to your positioning, it can really all start to crumble a little bit when those mistakes, or when you've got to be in those high pressure situations.
I mean, Koro and Shikoka will be like, well, back on stage,
back in their element.
It's been a while, but we remember how this feels. Because you remember for Kiddies, it's been like 3 or 4 years. Maybe 3 is more realistic. But Koro, it's been like 5. Of course, individual tournaments within their own right have been played, but nothing to the extent of LPL. It's kind of fun seeing them on stage again. And I know like a lot of pro players of League, or like a lot of famous personalities, have gone over and become TFT streamers or TFT players in general. And, you know, Koro, apparently one of them, I had no idea.
Yeah, and this is kind of the moment where a lot of these guys get to make a name for themselves, and I'll be curious to see if they do tend to stick to what we've already seen from a lot of them, which is kind of like their go-to strategies, like say towards the like of Aiken, going a lot towards the Astral Snipers, the Star Guardians, a bit of the Cybernetics. Like if we tend to see these players going again and again towards what their natural their natural build paths have been, or if they start to mix it up. I suppose we'll know a lot when we get towards those opening items, where a lot of players will start to move towards the likes of the tier, the giants, both the large rods, the recurve bows, especially if you're looking towards that blade master style of play. And we'll get to see exactly what the thought process is and what compositions they're prioritizing when we do get onto the convergence.
Because, I mean, it could have changed, right? We have their database, we have what they like to play, and I'm sure all other players have had a bit of a read into it themselves as we finally jump onto the convergence, not onto Summoner's Rift for game number 1. Now, our 8 players in Group A fighting for those top 2 spots to move forward. 3 to 6 get a lifeline of the redemption bracket, but you want the first 2 as Dagda, you're going to be carrying this broadcast, sir. I hope you know, but I'll help you take it
I appreciate
through.
it. The ones I'm already looking at, Juan Z here, who's managed to get himself on towards that recurve bow. Koro as well has actually opted over towards the Giants belt. So definitely, I like the Giants belt. I think it's been a super flexible pick in off of these first carousels. You build into like the red buff or the Morellos, the anti-healing options. You've got like the Warmogs for a lot of your Nikos and your mechs. And even then, if you really want to go towards cybernetics, getting redemption onto something like your Fiora is super good as well. So I think he's opened himself up to a lot of opportunities. Whereas when we look at Juan Z, is what we were talking about. Early bow. He was more than likely trying to see if he can get his hands on towards that blade master composition.
Also notice AlphaGo just before started with the BF sword. Great here if we're talking about the player that in the past has looked towards Darkstar, when we have mentioned the Jin and we have mentioned the Shaco, that being a core part of the item set. So
also, just to give everyone a head up, what was being said in the bottom left corner, it is a super dense galaxy, so we will be getting that extra force of nature in at some, at least at stage 3, as we get towards those later stages. And you can start to mix things up a little bit when you get that extra opportunity for one more unit on your board.
Force of nature feels pretty good.
So I'm surprised to see the lack of people kind of going for these early rebels. Like, usually if I'm looking at a couple of players, they'll start to go towards this early Ziggs, because he's such a good carry in these early stages against something like the Vanguard that we're seeing picked up here by Moonlight. Just because, obviously, the armor doesn't do a thing against this early Ziggs, especially if you can get something like a blue buff on him. And you tend to be able to build into an early rebel with the likes of the Malphite, the Ziggs, and if you can get your hands on that Zed. So surprised to see them kind of forego this, and definitely looking more towards, well, as you can see, the Chrono Sniper here in the Caitlyn, and building already towards what is one of the most popular comps on this server, which is that Astro Sniper.
Getting a lot of those 1 costs down nice and early, as you see the double poppy here. All right.
They've got really good items at the moment to go towards something. The previous player that had really good items to go towards something like that mech if we wanted to. We already saw the Shroud that was already picked up. You've got that BF sword that could go towards something like a Shaco. Even having that belt as well just gives you opportunities to go towards a Trap Claw or go towards something like a Warmogs for your mech as well if you really want to.
Having a quick look at beta here. Star Guardian's mech Darkstar. That's what we've been told about this player here. Early level 2 on the Zyre, as we noticed, with the Celestial and Protector combos built up.
So you can see on the left-hand side, I love this graphic, being able to bring up all the different items that we see picked up by each of them. So we'll be keeping our eyes on that as we go forward. But a couple of nice items we picked up, a lot of BF swords so far, so the potential to go towards something like that Jin if you want to, that Darkstar composition with the early Shaco as well. So I think there's a lot of opportunities here, and nothing stands out too much as in like people have locked in. A lot of the times when we look over towards somewhere like NA, which is a much more aggressive region, they are like firing out these items super, super quick.
Oh, really?
But something about the Chinese server is that it actually plays a much slower pace of game.
Which makes no sense.
Yeah.
When we talk about League,
the
it is the
LPL,
complete opposite.
Well, the thing is, they do want to hit that #1 spot. They want to win. They want to show they're better than you. But the best way to do that in TFT is to try and tend towards those later game points. And that's kind of the way the meta has developed here, where you won't see a lot of items slammed too early, and usually tend to play a little bit more of an econ-focused game, but not actually the case that we're going to get with Koro here, who's very quickly ramping up in levels.
I mean, got some nice synergies built up as well. All right.
Okay.
All right. Let's just wait and see.
So actually, Akin already going towards that level 5 himself. So he's getting towards a very early level 5. There is a couple of opportunities where you can go for it on 2-3. You can pre-level to that level 5. But Akin already, after even losing that first round, is a big surprise to me going to level 5. Usually at this stage, you want to try and keep your win or loss streak going. So the fact he lost the first round, then double leveled, means that he's got no econ, and now he's only starting his win streak. But it's actually lost again. So I'm curious to see what Atkins' board is.
Have a look in a second. Still just looking over at Korra, who's got the early Warmogs here with the synergies we talked about a little bit before, double source alongside.
And this is a very early indicator that he wants to go towards Star Guardians. You got that Nico super early, you're holding on towards that Protector with the Xin Zhao, even got the Ari there, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Goro trying to build towards that early Star Guardian composition.
You wanted to see Achin's board with the double level that came through. I know we're just kind of passing through. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we will say that we do not have control of the Observer. It is over on the Chinese side, so you just have to bear with us. The Rebels.
Yeah, this is the composition I was talking about that I really like in these early stages. The Ziggs does so well against those Vanguards. You end up with the double Brawler through the Malphite and the Alawi. You end up with the double Infiltrator between the Zed and also that Nocturne as well. So this is a composition that you can ride out super well in these early points in the game. You have your Nocturne, especially if you hit a level 2, will do really well until kind of that 3-2, 3-5 stage, and that's kind of when you start to see him fall off. But actually ending up against the exact same composition,
Yeah,
so it's a battle to the end.
And it looks like we got ZVZ, but unfortunately not as exciting as I thought so. I was actually liking the way Beta started this off. Of course, a core item on the Alawi that's been talked about before with the Bramble Vest is also a nice start.
It's interesting though, because Shikeka actually had a Master Yi in his shop. So not opting to go fully in towards the Rebels, obviously with not having the early recurve bow that we discussed earlier, so he doesn't feel confident going fully towards that Rebels composition. Instead, looks like he's just going to use this to bypass the early game and then move in towards something. A lot of players will start to base compositions off of the level 4 unit that they found.
Okay.
That tends to be the most coherent and the most reliable way to flesh out your compositions. So I'll have to see if that is the style that Shikeke is going to go
Yeah,
towards.
and the style of many, because we know that coming into today, it was a lot of conversation about the style of compositions these players prefer and would often go for. But talking about players who play everything, being adaptive is also in the mix.
So there's the early Rebel once again. I'm going to say I'd be surprised if... Well, he doesn't have any recurve bows. I was going to say there is the opportunity to go for the double Shen here, match your Blade Masters, and then try and see if you want to go towards it. But with that Shroud, actually building the blue buff there as well, not really a composition that will work overly well with the Blade Masters unless you want to give that blue buff to Aurelia. So instead, going to forgo the Blade Masters and instead just look to power through with the Rebel early game.
Yeah, just filling through with the double Z as well in one level 2. Good thing about Nocturne's blue buff is when he gets into the back line. All right, Dagda, I need to tell everyone at the bottom of the screen, as you're seeing these little tooltips come through, I know that you're wondering what they are. They are just little bits of tips that are giving advice to our maybe more beginner audience.
Exactly. A lot of the Chinese assets are going to be more towards, hey, look, this is how this game works, this is how it's played, and it's trying to give a little bit of an indication towards players about what's the best way to go. Oh, Zhuangzi has got a super early Bard. This is something that you can try and run through to try and hit this
Ramp up your
super early
XP,
level 9, through the experience. Especially with a rapid fire cannon, he's going to be so fast with those auto attacks. It looks to try and get towards those super late game points.
Okay. You're right, it is
I'm looking as well,
early.
which is surprising because Zhuangzi actually, as we talked, so I take it back.
Hello.
He does the rapid fire cannon. Zhuangzi is our premier Blade Master player. He loves Master Yi. So I imagine, especially when you look towards the likes of the Shen that's already picked up, you've got the Xayah, he's going to be looking for these Blade Masters. Has really strong econ as well at the moment for having hit level 5 and having 30 gold. So
Really good
he's
spot.
going to be working up towards that Master Yi, going towards that Blade. Has the Negatron Cloak as well. He just needs to hit a recurve and he's got prime items here.
Feels
Master
good
Yi.
when you have that double chrono with the Bard as well this early on, and you're just stacking XP. You're in a good econ position. Already plus 30, plus 40, sorry, at this point.
Yeah, I mean, look, what more options do you need to say, hey, I'm Blade Masters, you know? So, yeah, he's 100% going to be looking for Yi. And this is exactly what we expected. It's his most played composition on the Chinese server as well.
Yep.
So Zhuangzi, the guy we were saying looked a little bit nervous at the start of the day, has definitely found his comfort zone.
Once you sit down, those chairs are comfy. I don't know, did they change the chairs? Do we have TOC dedicated chairs?
I'm not sure, actually.
Oh, if we do, that would be the next level, wouldn't it?
That's what we need. And
we're
if anyone
actually-
wants to hook us up as well, it's
I like this little graphic at the top of the screen. So we're looking at the win streaks to start us off here. So Zhuangzi's kind of opted through that loss streak of 5 by now to again, build up that economy that we're seeing and talking heavily about. Koro on a 5 hot streak here to start the game off as well.
Yeah, Koro went for that early protector build, which is super difficult to deal with. He got the early Nico, had that Xinjiao as well, so he's in a really good spot and can look to now power up, because especially as we talked about Koro eyeing up that Star Guardian Sorks composition, this is one that can ramp all the way up to level 9. You see super early level 6, well, at least an early level 6. You usually go to level 6 3-2 for Koro.
He sold the Bard here. He's like, all right, I've got my Blade Masters, I've got my Yi, I've got my 2 core items on the carry, and
yeah, there you go.
This is very potent.
Yeah. So this is where you can basically go into 2 different styles for the Yi with the addition on towards that needlessly large rod. Can obviously go towards that dual gauntlet, which works out wonderfully. Have seen the Rabadon's death cap as well, but all you want is this AP, because it ramps up how much true damage he's dealing on his auto attacks. So you can see, even at level 1, with this rapid fire and that Runins, he's doing a lot of work.
Yeah, he's going to end the losing streak right here. Well, Trons is definitely someone to keep an eye on here for in this first game. I'm curious, we've been looking at him for a while. I still want to have a look over at Koro and how he's been adapting here. I'm seeing double demolition.
Yeah, it's all Rebel Demolitionist, so usually it's the zigs into the early rumble, and then you can look to transition that if you want to into some sort of mech build, or if you end up finding something like a Jinx and some nice items for her, you can ramp up or swap over in towards a more blaster-oriented composition. But we are still looking at Zhuangzi, who, as we talked about, 100% of Blade Masters. This is so good for him in the early stages. The fact that he managed to get that early recurve and now has prime E items, like, he's going to be gunning for that top place as long as he can find, you know, the likes of this Irelia.
Yep.
I imagine he's going to forego the Riven, because in a lot of situations the Shen here is going to provide that Chrono Blade Master and will also be the frontline unit that you really want.
Okay, so you don't look at like pivoting Caitlyn in and putting Riven in instead, or?
No. So basically, you'll end up just having the Shen as your front line, and especially when he's already got this the Xayah, who's already in his composition, he probably wants to keep this and see if you can move towards an early Celestial. Although there is always the opportunity, if you want to go for the double chrono between the Shen and the Riven. But I've found that a couple of players are starting to leave out the Riven in the late game just because she doesn't provide a huge amount unless you give her a bunch of items.
We are now finally having a look at Koro, though. It has been a while on Drenzer because of how we've talked about his comp coming together. Koro still at 100, still at low econ, still rolling his life out. But level 6 now. Dagda, run me through.
Yeah, he's going for this. I actually really don't agree with rolling down this heavily. What I would have much preferred was that he actually slow rolled. Slow roll has kind of become the go-to rather than this heavy roll down at 6. Because now you've got your 4 protectors, fantastic, but you're still looking in this composition late game to get the likes of your Janna, to get that Paragon, and then turn all that damage into true damage. But the big issue that you're seeing right now is he's got 0 econ. So trying to get to that a late game where he can add in all these extra units that just make this composition hit that 1/2 spot just isn't going to cut it.
Continues forward. Interesting. Moonlight on a win streak as well. I want to continue as we're coming up to the carousel. Dagda, priority items.
I mean, this is all going to be composition focused. So I suppose if I'm looking over towards Zhuangzi, who we already talked about is building this Blade Master composition, he'd love to pick up that Brawler Glove, finish off that Dual Gauntlet for his Master Yi. If we're looking more at the more, well, no, Akin is actually going to pick up that tier. I was going to say if we're looking towards our Protector player, we're going to be looking more towards trying to grab that tier so we can add it on to a Syndra, but may not get the opportunity to do so. There we go. As we watch Moonlight, who's a bit frustrated that he wasn't able to get a tier for himself there.
Got one tier, just not the one he really wanted.
The good news for him, though, he has such a strong front line. This Nico is going to be really good when he gets to these later game fights. He's able to turn that Chain Vest into a Guardian Angel, and you've got pretty much prime items on this Nico. Would have been nice if you could have got the Ionic Spark onto the Nico rather than that Shroud, but either way, like, this Nico is going to be monstrous. When you have a GA like that on a Nico, you're pretty much guaranteed to get at least 1 ultimate, if not 2 off in a fight. This
is the kind of comp we're talking about with Moonlight, though, before show, were we not? You know, he kind of tunnels into like these protectors slash.
Yeah, he plays a lot of this Star Guardian composition. So, again, though, he's actually in a pretty good spot. So this is the difference here if we look at Koro versus Moonlight. So Moonlight is sitting here. He's still winning these games. He's not like he's much stronger than Korra right now, but he's sitting on 40 gold. So he's going to be able to have a far better time at hitting these late game points where he can add in 6-star Guardian and having the Janna as one of those, plus say something like a Mystic as well to pair with that Soraka. So he's going to be in such a good spot.
Good transition period, right?
And this is why this composition is so strong, is that like at the moment you can see you've got Ari, who's a super strong carry for the mid game, gives you the opportunity to build up towards these Syndra items. So you end up keeping a lot of your health in the mid game and not actually having too much trouble in getting towards those late game stages.
Having a look at Shikoko now. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I need you to know that this is Kitties from IG, another pro player who was once in the LPL. Has suffered a little bit, now sitting at the bottom of the leaderboard. Sitting with those Rebels and the battle cast, and Dagda, you're going to have to run me through what is ideal for Shikoko to go through this mid game.
It's a little bit of a funky one, because
The dice work.
I think this the best bet for him is to try and, like, at 40 health, he's going to lose this one as well. He's in dire straits. Like, you've got to start rolling down. It would have been nice if you could have hit the level 7 beforehand, give him the best opportunity of finding the likes of the Fizz, because he does have that Annie there. I have a feeling that he's trying to go towards that mech build, especially when you've already got the Victor there. You got the Cassiopeia for your battle cast as well. But unfortunately for him, it just hasn't worked out. So looks like, yeah, this is okay. He's okay at the moment because he is obviously still sitting on the creep round. But after this, he needs to level to 7, and he's going to have to roll right the way down. Yeah. Ideally, you'd like to be able to kind of slow roll this composition so you can try and hold on to a heap of gold. Look towards the later point, but exactly, you don't have that time, and this is going to be a major issue for him.
Key drops you want to see here again?
At the moment, I'd like to see something more frontline orientated, so maybe a Warmogs for the Giant's Belt. Love to see a bit more of an armor item though. If you got that chain vest, could go towards the Titan's Wrath, but it actually doesn't drop for him.
Gets more gold.
Yeah, Titan's Wrath would have been amazing there for him. Titan's Wrath is a super good item. Oh, there's a Fizz. Okay, he's in good shape. Now he can roll another Fizz. He's picking up a lot here. That 1% drop in the Echo.
It comes through, right?
Yeah, there's the Annie. He just needs to find that Rumble. If he finds Rumble, he's in great shape here. Yeah. So this is, as you can see, he's got to roll fast.
There's the 2 Fizz.
This is what the problem with mech is that sometimes you just get trolled. Sometimes you don't find that Rumble or you don't find that Annie, and it messes you up.
He just left on the island, like, what do you do now?
Yeah. So at the moment, he's still in an okay spot, but desperately needs that Rumble to try and provide a little bit more for him. So there's the Morello and that blue buff we talked about from Victor. Super strong. He already has that Shroud for the front line, which is fantastic as well. He just needs to get something like a Titan's Wrath, so providing that armor for his mech. And as well, every swipe of an auto attack from a mech counts as a crit, so you ramp up that Titan's Wrath super quickly. But unfortunately for himself, hasn't quite found the Rumble. Still hasn't.
I think the Observer is onto this.
Yeah.
Really just waiting for it. We're getting level 2 of the core units built earlier on.
Even heartbreaking.
Oh my god.
This is heartbreaking to watch. He needs to just, he's holding on to, buy the level 3s is your best bet, which is, I don't mind buy the Cassiopeia popper in, but you want to start, like, this is, oh no, he needs to sell that Yasuo and reroll is what I do here. You're not holding on to the Yasuo, you're not going to be going back towards Rebel, and maybe then you can sell that Ezreal to get that Rumble, but things ain't looking pretty, especially when you're lobbing in a Bard as your
this is mega RNG's coming to...
21 health, like, he's got basically 2 losses left in him. But this one actually doesn't look like it's going to go as badly, but he's not got much, like 3 is the max amount of losses he's left in him.
Yeah, I mean, he has minimized a lot of the damage control that was coming through before. But I'm sure the Observer's going to wait. He's like, hello.
He's like, come on, please. Please give me the Rumble. And look, although we talk about like mech being the most reliable, you can see you've got one Rumble that's already picked up. It's usually a pretty highly contested composition as well. And the fact he's gotten an Echo and an Aurelion Sol, and there we go, has got the Rumble.
Finally.
So I actually would have preferred to see him put the items on towards the Fizz. Because as we just said, Rumble pretty highly contested at the moment between providing the Demolitionist for those Rebel compositions, as you just saw glance past on your screen. So I think the Fizz right now would have just been the bigger carry. So I think putting the likes of these items on towards Fizz could have worked out fantastically. But either way,
at least he got it, man.
He has passed the threshold. This is where you can start to stabilize. And this is where you, as a mech player, can just ride a 15 health right the way into that top 4 spots.
Okay. crucial again, talking about points that we saw before. It is the top 3 that is super ideal, though, to get ahead of the rest. Going against this Protector comp that we talked about with Moonlight, though, and finally, we're going to start seeing a bit of tempo for Shikoka.
Yeah, you can see there that if you start to group for these mech compositions, because you've got the Demolitionist in from Ziggs, you can do a lot of work when it comes to these close quarter fights like with the Protectors there. The thing, though, that I want to see as we start to move forward for Shikeka is starting to get that econ back in place, getting up towards that level 9 where you can add in the likes of the Gangplank instead of that the Ziggs, and also being able to swap out some of these Mystics, because he has the Cassiopeia running at the moment, but honestly, the Battle Cast, when you get to like level 8, level 9, you get to kind of the stage 5 area, just doesn't really cut it. It's just not doing enough damage or healing to actually make a difference.
Can we just, I know we don't have control over who we're looking at. Remember we were talking about Drenza a little bit earlier in the game when he got the core items, he picked up his comp, and I believe he's at 6 Blade Masters. Or at least close.
Get to see there, but yeah,
we had a flash. We're having a look at Alpha Go now.
Yeah, he's got his cybernetics there, so I think
he's got 9 units. Here we go.
Yeah, so we'll be able to pop all these guys in. There's your oh, actually going to go for the Vayne. Yeah, so at the moment, I like this. I like this a lot. I think the Vayne carry is really, really strong. I prefer it with the likes of a Giant Slayer though, because I just think, especially when you see a lot of mech players in, having the bonus true damage plus being able to deal the extra damage, because the mech's above the 1750 threshold for the larger units, you can do a lot of work there. But yeah, you'll get to see it here. Like, you can slowly work through this mech, but Cybernetics as a composition is one that tends to grind through rather than burst through the opponent. So the easier you can get through something like a mech, the easier of a time you'll have, and you're seeing just how close that was. Oh, that's Shikeka. Oh,
yeah.
no.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, no.
You just realized.
9 HP. Oh, it's not going well.
After he finally gets what he wants. Maybe it's a little bit too late.
Yeah, I don't know. He's stuck on 7. He's he's stuck on 7. He's no econ. It's not looking good for Shikeka, I'm afraid.
All right.
Well,
we're going to look at his last run, I think. His last hurrah, Dagda.
Yeah.
But you're just rolling here, right?
I think
like
you just
no
slam it. Look, you've got one loss left. Every little is going to help here, so yeah, getting rid of that. If he wins here, I'd sell the Ziggs to hit the 40 gold, and then at least next round you should be able to full level to 8 and pop in something. But it's kind of more of a case of if you're able to hit something that's worthwhile.
Yeah.
A Soraka or something would work wonders for him, but it's not really going to be the case.
Let's have a look.
Like, we have a few members here getting pretty low. He's against
the Darkstar.
Chonghua. Yeah, Darkstar. Oh, he's got the Guinsu's Rage Blade on the Xerath, though. This is, like, the perfect item.
The pain.
Yeah, you're just going to see he's going to tear through.
Yeah, I think this could be...
Yeah, the big thing with mech is anything that can bypass the main mech.
Yes.
Yeah, anything that can bypass the mech and deal damage to the backline is going to be able to beat him out. That's why, like, Infiltrators do really well against it. It's why you can see the Darkstar here is doing really well, especially when you've got a Rage Blade Xerath, because he just fires over the head of the mech and you just can't do anything about it.
Well, Dagda, at least he survived.
I don't
on
know
5
how he
health.
survived.
Hey,
yeah.
this is incoming first. That's cruel.
Yeah, he just needs better frontline options. Like right now, he's actually doing reasonably okay with the damage that can come out from Victor. It sucks that he hasn't been able to pick up any items realistically for this Echo as well. He's relying on this Zephyr, but he needs some sort of armor item here for the Garen. It's just not providing enough beefiness to allow that backline to deal the damage that they need.
Let's have a look at the items coming across, because it feels like now pretty reliant on what gets dropped. More gold is...
I mean, you can slam the Ludens on towards the Victor, but...
Oh, you got Victor blue buff with Morellos.
Yeah, at least it'll help him ult that little bit quicker.
Yeah.
And, I mean, especially since Victor is someone that does percentage health damage, like, his damage is always relevant, so the faster you can get him to ult, the better. But, yeah, you can see panic mode here.
Throw a double echo in.
I'd buy the Lulu. I'd rather you see the Mystic go in. Yeah, there we go. Oh, we sold it. Never mind. I think Mystic would have been worth your while here, especially when we're looking at, hey, that Xerath who was dealing a lot of damage. We're looking at a lot of the Star Guardian Sword comps that are in this as well. I think that Mystic would have done a lot for him there.
I guess he puts in the Urgot instead of the double echo, hoping to roll into that 2-star, give him a bit more survivability for these incoming rounds. But
it's maybe all she will.
Maybe.
Just about, maybe. This mech is surviving just
I mean,
long enough.
the Victor damage is Actually, quite insane. I'm very curious as to breakdown. But you know what? He didn't lose. 8th place.
Yeah,
is Ashton,
just about.
who has to walk off stage. And you know what? That's okay. A little bit of bias for Shikuka coming through here. Not 8th. That's a win in my books.
So we've swapped over towards our rebel player. Gangplank? Why did you not buy Gangplank? Sorry. He looks like he's still trying to go. Ah, there it is. He's going for the mech. Still would have preferred that he bought the Gangplank at least for when he rolled down, but has finally found this. Now has the Ziggs as well for the Demolitionist. Gonna add in the... Surprised to see the Ribbon going in, but
yeah.
I suppose of the 4 cost units that were there, or the best units that were still part of that board, it's okay. But okay, just gonna be providing enough of a damage spike towards this front line with the added spell damage there from the Ribbon. But yeah, the problem here is exactly what we talked about. If you get access to that back line where you can bypass the mech, it doesn't really matter how strong they are. Doesn't have any damage on the Shaku as well. Only has the rapid fire cannon, so actually doesn't have enough of a spike when he hops away. So unfortunately, you got bypass the mech and no damage really on that Shaku to try and carry.
He
so
knew it was coming. He just threw everything on the Ribbon's like, why not? Let's see where this goes as he walks off stage. So in 7th place will be Beta.
With the Cybernetics. So this is the composition that we're talking about. Is becoming very quickly one of those top compositions as the TFT tournaments globally go. We saw the Redemption on the Fiora, which is usually a champion that can, survive a couple of seconds in the early stages, and then you get that Redemption popping at a nice time. But Cybernetics, as we said, a composition that takes a bit of time to whack through the enemy team. So having that Redemption, just giving you that little bit of extra buff, is super nice in the midpoint of the fight.
We're going to go with the Zephyr here on the Karma. Shikuka still on 5 HP. Now, the 2 win streak does go on here. Echo doing a bit of work.
The big thing here was the Zephyr onto the Vayne in the backline, though. May have just bought enough time for this mech to survive. Just get the demo.
Oh my god, and
so
he takes down Alpha Go.
So that was clutch. That Zephyr positioning caught the Vayne. Vayne not being able to crit onto the armor, well, the inherent armor on that mech, meant that they couldn't actually get through it as quickly as they wanted to. And that just bought just about enough time for them to be able to finish off that play.
Easy Rod on the Rumble's doing a bit of work, or should I say the Mecha Garen. But now, we're left with 5. Now, this is pretty crucial because points start breaking apart and start being very realistic in our top 5.
Yeah, this is kind of hard because obviously you got a lot of people to try and look at here. I think definitely for our friend Shikuka here, armor is the way forward. If you can guess, I don't know what he was able to pick up quite there, but definitely being able to find some sort of armor for your front line is the go-to right now, because otherwise you just run the risk of any of these, like the Vayne that we saw with the Cybernetics, being able to just clean house against you.
That Pistol Karma.
Yeah, I think he's rolling for the... He really wants this Rumble to start to level up the mech. There's your Rumble. You want to buy the Rumble?
There you go.
Hey.
But yeah, now you're in a bit of an awkward spot. So this is the issue, is that if you can't quite find your upgrades for the mech, it can kind of suck. But unfortunately for himself as well, wasn't quite able to get an armor item on that carousel. So now looking to do a Zephyr trick where you can try and very quickly pop it onto someone, but doesn't get the timing, and now has an Urgot in the front line, which is happy to gobble up that mech. This is not looking good for Shikuka. I think it's all she
This is the
wrote
dream
here.
run, Dagda. What do you mean? Where's the...
Wait,
Yeah,
Victor? No, there's the heals for Shikuka. Yeah. Shikuka, I'm sorry, but it's all said and done.
Well, Victor.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah.
Only just, though. Gave it a good run. Hey, when you're that far down, when you're really not rolling well.
And that's what we're talking about, is that mech, especially when you're like starting on 15 health for Shikuka. If you can get it up and running, you have the opportunity to try and make that dream run. Just couldn't quite make it in the end. And
Oh, we got
here
win
we go. We got
probability.
stats.
Hello.
We don't have the Kentucky Fried Chart, but we do have something a little bit
but the
different.
Curdle's behind this one for sure. Now, Koro was the one who we were talking about. He was hyper rolling early on, Dagda. We haven't really paid attention to him. Trenzu, of course, we mentioned how he got the Blade Master set up and how his items were quite favorable.
Oh, wow.
Now we get Qinghua.
Qinghua is in a really good spot. That Xerath is huge. The Winsus plus that Rabadons. And even the double Jin level 2. So he's really trying to get this Jin online, but you can see there the damage that this Xerath is able to churn out as a Darkstar is insane. That's why, as you mentioned earlier on, that Darkstar composition is starting to really ramp up, especially if you can get that 2-star Xerath with these items.
Especially when you have no one who gets to this Xerath and it just keeps ramping. What items we got though? Okay, we got the Tooth, got Titans.
So I'm kind of in two minds with the Titan's Wrath, because the Titan's Wrath in a Darkstar comp, you don't really want your front line to survive with Darkstar comp. You want them to die so you can get the extra damage on towards your back line.
Yeah.
And the Titan's Wrath doesn't really do anything outside of the mech compositions, so I'd nearly say trying to put it on towards something like your Xerath could also be a strategy here, just for that attack speed that comes with the Titan's Wrath. But I mean, when you've got such a nice Xerath already, you've already got a bunch of attack speed. With that Guinsoo's Rage Lemonade, it may not be needed, but I'd be curious to see what he ends up deciding to do with that. This is something like, this is a situation I haven't quite seen a lot of, so I'd be curious to figure out what he has done here.
Dagda looking at items on the left-hand side of your screen after we saw our last carousel. Now moving into 6-1.
Yeah.
And there you go.
This is what I wanted to look at was Moonlight, but Koro's items seem perfect. There we go. We're still looking at Moonlight. Koro and Moonlight are playing the same composition here. Both this Star Guardian Sword composition with the Protector between the Urgot and also that Nico. Urgot 2 here is fantastic. Actually going up against Koro, so this is where we're curious to see how it goes. But you can see how important these Nikos are in the front line for this style of composition where all that attention is being drawn to them. But the thing here for Koro is he's got that Warmogs, he's got the Dragon's Claw, which is perfect against what Moonlight is trying to do. Has that level 9 with the Jan in the back line as well, which is turning all that magic damage into true damage, which is amazing. And that's why Koro is just able to pick it out in the end.
And Moonlight loses out, sitting in 4th position as he will shortly walk off a stage. So we have our top 3 Dagda. Percentage is obviously going to change, and Koro is someone we talked about early. And you know what? Drenza's still in this, as we've just cut sound. You know why?
Oh, he's actually got the... Sorry, I was trying to see where the Z was there. We've actually got the Blade Master Z there.
The level 3
This is like the new Blender style. This is like... Okay, I'm sorry, but like... Junzi's won this. This is the perfect combo. You've got amazing items for your Master Yi. He's 3-star as well. You've actually got the buff as well off of the Yasuo items with the spell damage. So you can see Yi is tearing through, folks. Although may not be able to clutch it out. Just about. Xinghua is able to finish that, but once you start to see these final few 3-star units coming in, you can see one off of Zed, one off Shen, one off of the Yasuo as well. That's where it'll definitely turn in favor, but doesn't have a huge amount of health bar left. So you've got two losses left in use Zhuangzi. So you need to try and finish that off very quickly.
We'll get there eventually.
I will get there eventually.
Hey,
my Irish tongue is not good with these Chinese names.
We apologize to the audience for the sound at the moment. We've obviously for top 3 things need to get serious, and you only need to hear us. But the level 3 Jin has been acquired.
Yeah, that is disgusting. So this is now actually, I take it back. I have no idea what way this is going to end, because you can see there, that Xerath and Jin are tearing through health bars.
Oh my god.
Whoo, that was fast.
And Koro's down. And Koro is down, and Drenza is close to going down himself. But even with that Blade Master comp that we always talk about. Oh.
Yeah, and unfortunately here, you've already added the... Oh, there we go, Darkstar. So this is nice for Xinghua, who's already gone for this Darkstar composition. Adding one more in just gives another unit. Well, I suppose it actually doesn't matter massively, because you already, because of the change a while ago, the buff doesn't go... it's not a buff of every Darkstar unit, it's when a unit dies.
Yep.
So it means that then having another Darkstar doesn't matter, but it does mean he can swap some of these units out, which is pretty nice, especially something like a Jarvan isn't particularly good here, especially when he's holding on to the Zerat portal. You could potentially move that off onto someone else, but there's a couple of Darkstar units that at this stage just aren't really cutting it and do have the opportunity to start mixing it up and moving things about.
Well, Dag, the last round, that's what it feels like here as the 7 Darkstar with the pickup here. Look at the Blade Master in the background. Look at the level 3 Jin and the Zerath as well.
There you go.
But look at the Yi. I mean, this is what we expected. Got some sound back for this last one, but Xinghua only just survives on 2 HP. And that Yi feels pretty unstoppable at this point. I'm not sure what you do.
And this is the thing. This Darkstar, you kind of need time to ramp up, where you're able to get a bunch of extra damage onto your back line. And then you've got like the likes of your Xerath, who's finally ulting, who's able to get all this damage off. The problem is with a composition like this front line that has been provided with that finish Shen, with the finish Yasuo, it's a little bit more difficult to try and get through that front line. And you've got Yi, who's able to hit from so far back, and that healing coming through that Xerath isn't able to pick him off. And Jin is busy dealing with the Shen, who's actually ulting and stopping him from being able to auto-attack the rest of the team, as you can see.
Here we go. Here's the fight. Look at that Yi once again. All right, GG, go next. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Well, Xerath tried, and boy did he try. An honorable effort when you consider how this game went out. And first place, Genza will win out in the end here with the Blade Master composition. And that was a good way to start off when we consider that we saw that earlier. Yeah, open settings. Let's see how we go. Let's change it up. And walking off stage, Koro was third, Tsinghua second, and you know what? Genza with the level
Blade
3
Master.
Yi does that.
Thank you for the nice demonstration of why this is a super strong composition. Especially when we talked about the differences there was, as you can see, level 7 at the end of that. That is when this composition comes online. You end up re-rolling for the likes of the Yasuos, the Shens, and especially the fact that he managed to get that spatula go for the Blade Master Zed was just incredible. Like that is a super rare fight. That was a massive high roll for Juanza in that game.
High risk, high reward, as they say, right? Yeah. A good way to end, though. And I think going forward, you know, my learnings of this game are going to be watch out for the 6 Blade Masters, as we talked about. He's the only person who's been really favoring it as of recently.
That is the
We're talking about the risk.
perfect game.
Yeah.
Like that is like if that is Juanza just thanking his lucky stars, because the fact
In the first
you,
game.
for one, get that, and two, in a tournament game number 1
Yeah.
is definitely going to give him a nice little bit of a boon. But we're
boon.
not going to see that again. Like that was incredibly lucky. Like you had perfect items across the board. Even the fact he got the Chalice of Power to again level up that spell damage that's on the E, plus the spatula for the Blade Master Zed. Like that was just unstoppable.
And we look at the position ranking throughout here in multiple rounds. From 2 to 6 to 6-2, Trenza was stuck in that first place position. So.
And for everyone who wants to know, on the top right-hand corner, under Juanza, it says health as number 1. So the health when you finish the game is 7. His win streak is going to be at 6, which is that second option. And then the last one is lowest standing is 8th. So he was 8th at some point in the
we
game.
get highlights.
Runs right the way in.
Dag, do we get highlights?
Well, look, we knew that exactly where he's going from the early stages. We saw him complete that early rapid fire into the Ruinous Hurricane, was sitting on that needlessly as well, which actually surprises me because it means that he sold that Master Yi at some point and said, you know what, I've got this Giant Slayer instead. So selling that Master Yi, opting in towards the Giant Slayer, I think that was more of a tech that he saw when he saw the mech coming in, because having that true damage is super strong. So I like the way that Juanza played this, and you can see that experience that we talked about. His favorite composition is this Blade Master and understanding it to its
But
fullest.
this was the real round, wasn't it? The Shikuka round where he said, oh, I'm not going out yet. Took down AlphaGo. Oh, no, we don't have to watch this.
Oh, no.
We don't have to watch
Yeah,
this.
that
Round's
late
not
Zephyr,
important.
that late Zephyr was so sad, and especially playing against Moonlight, with
Yeah.
the blue buff Janna,
Nah, that
he just
round
gets
was out.
CC'd for so
Shikuka
long.
will win this whole thing, man. I'm just saying right now. There's no way. But final round, one of the final rounds of the tournament as we got towards our top 3.
Either way, even though you get run over by this Blade Master composition, I think Tronghua is still going to be very happy with it. I mean, getting that second place gives him the 8 points. You got the 10 points for Juanzi, so I think in a lot, of situations, you're still going to be pretty happy with the way that's gone. Especially when we talk about, hey, look, first and second of the overall tournament after these 3 games will progress towards our finals, and you've already set yourself up super nicely with that first and second place finish.
Yeah, 10 points going over to Drenza, as we'll get the names eventually.
We got handed these a little bit earlier, so
Drenza.
we're still struggling to get used to them, and we're very sorry.
I mean,
We're
tomorrow,
just not good at
you
this.
know, tomorrow, like Munchables and they're going to get people like Tomato. A Godlike's in that group as well, a bit of a legend. You know, Waluigi, which is actually legit.
yeah.
Good
So,
name.
yeah. But we will struggle with our ones today. But either way, I think we're definitely starting to see the players flesh out their kind of style. I think One of the big mistakes that we saw was that super roll at level 6 not quite working out the way that she'd planned. And then Shikeka just about managing to get that mech online. But that's what you got to look for is if you see a mech composition, once you actually find the pieces of the puzzle, you can just shoot right at those rankings.
Very, very true. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are kind of just, you know, pushing through because no, it's so difficult. Because I know a lot of our viewers today will watch LPL. By now, you know, MVP of game number 1 was Drenzer.
He gives him one MVP
He
count.
One MVP count. Right,
he had 100% of his total team's damage.
And he won. He gave first.
Yeah.
It was very good. We'll give you the MVP after the break. Then we're going to throw to one and be back here for TOC after this.
Yo, everybody, this is TFT. Hey bro， 记得吗 ？Let's go, everybody, just let me。民族炫耀，我们是出手，想要装备，全帮他们抢走。今天的事情不太 OK， 一起在被发配成队，快递到，破产还没装备，突不打死就全部赔了。天无感区预感的第1号去被拖卡成弟弟。我们的战术极限有效，但是没有钱，它不够肉。够大，50块，这个历史吧，没装备的异性就想刮痧，这个球王让我打一下下，我比我的对手，让他活到看完，就人靠皮皮草草，我的羁绊速度血量，爆出的是不会被断，找不出意外，不会翻盘，导致退场，有点遗憾，但气势不凡。我就在下一局等你，下着我们的期待的胜利，大家一直都在等你，最强羁绊我们待在一起。我就在下一局等你，下着我们的期待的胜利，大家一直都在等你，最强羁绊我们待在一起。参加这 party， 一定是意义中连一届的胜利。参加这 party， 大家在云顶等你 ，You and me。
Hope's on the other side of mountains. We gotta climb and clouds move until the dawn of a brand new day. Feel moves into the past of dark days that couldn't last, and doubt gives away to passion. A brand new day. Hope brings true. Hope brings true. A brand new day. Hope brings true. Hope rings true. Hope's on the other side of mountains. We gotta climb and clouds move until the dawn of a brand new day. Feel moves into the past of dark days that couldn't last, and doubt gives away to passion. A brand new day. Hope brings true. Hope brings true. A brand new day. Hope brings true. Hope brings true. A brand new day. Hope's on the other side of mountains. We gotta climb and clouds move until the dawn of a brand new day. Feel moves into the past of dark days that could
忘掉所有。
来吧，希望和梦想的孩子们。受指引便是恩典。
我让他们得到解脱。
不是你死，就是我亡。如果你要来杀我，希望你把朋友给带上。
我要动手了，因为所以。啊！等等，是我在打你啊！对不起，对不起啊！
你的灵魂有了意义。
What a pleasure it is to be back with you, ladies and gentlemen. This is the TOC. Almost went off track there, but I made it in the end. Hysterics, Dagda here. Not MVP, not MVP of Game 1.
Hysterics is struggling, so for anyone who doesn't know,
SOFM.
we usually cast the LPL, so we are trying our best to move our experience there over towards TFT.
I mean, hey, you've been carrying it. You've carried Game 1 so hard. As smiles on the face of this man who won out Game 1, Jenza, we talked about him being a little bit nervous running onto stage. He then sat down, got his grip ready, drank whatever orange liquid was in the cup,
and then high rolled his way to first place. Because
yes,
my word, having the level 3 Yi, Yasuo, Shen plus the Prime Yi items, and also a level 3 Zed with that Blade Master was just absolutely insane. So well played by him, and we saw from the get-go that he was eyeing up this recurve bow so that he could go towards that build. So I think a lot of players are now going to go, right, I got to at least contest him somehow when we look towards these recurves, or even towards this build itself, because allowing him to get another finish like that is just going to shove him straight up the ranks. And as you already mentioned, like, 2 first-place wins guarantees you that advancement to at least the redemption. Or no, it guarantees you finals. Wasn't that what we worked to? Yes, guarantees you a place in the finals.
Yeah, gets you top 2, and that's really all you needed in the finals being played at the end. The top 3 out of the top 8, if you're catching my drift, will then go through and go into TFT Galaxies, of course, the global tournament. So good start here from Tianzi. One more win will guarantee him in this top 2 here today in Group A, if he can pull it out again. And you were talking to me before the break about the luck involved. You know, how great everything lined up for him. Might not happen again, so we might see a shift in play and composition direction.
I'm just super surprised that we didn't see more people try and contest them, to be honest. Like, as we said already, you know, having the likes of a Rebel build that can take a lot of the Yasuos and the Master Yis away, even looking towards the Cybernetics players who are taking away a couple of the Aurelias. I thought we'd actually see a little bit more of a struggle from him, but managing to hit all these, you can see him, the game plan there, staying at that level 7, rolling at that stage, because you do have the highest percentage chance at that stage of finding both your 2-cost unit, your 3-cost unit, because it'll be 30% chance for your 2-cost unit, 35% chance for your 3 cost unit. So having that opportunity there to just play around that level was super, super nice. But we are kicking things off once again. Koro has managed to nick away that recurve bow this time around. So, and Shikeke going to get his hands on that tier, so we'll have to see what he decides to work his magic with that.
But again, AlphaGo, I mean, was this one I was mentioning before? Again, BF Sword priority for the Darkstar player, so it is another good starting item. And I think it's relatively the same, actually.
So, AlphaGo, starting off with this BF Sword, still going to be looking towards the opportunity to go towards something like a cybernetics. We see the Jin, the Darkstar compositions where you can have Shaco and the Jin work very well with it. Even snipers to a certain extent where you can build off the Jin, and this BF Sword is nice. The GA opportunities from that BF Sword are great as well. So this is why we start to see a lot of these early BF Swords picked up, just because the flexibility it offers you and not really limiting you to any one style.
Let's talk story though, Dagda, while we are seeing the early rounds progress through. Shikeke is now the underdog, right? He is the player that people want to see succeed.
You have fully all in on Shikeke.
Shikeke
after just seeing him hover at that 15 health for so long.
Part of his name is literally close to Kek W. I mean, how can you not, as any kind of fan?
I think it's the IG fan in you coming out.
Maybe it is. Hey,
yeah.
It's TFT. I could be. Wait, no, I shouldn't be biased, should I? No. I was about to say, but probably the same
Unbiased
concept.
casters completely.
Yeah.
This is totally fine.
I mean, realistically, it should be Koro, right? Koro wins, but EDG doesn't this split. That would be fun. As Tier and Needlessly Large going to be dropping here with the 2-star Poppy in an early round. So building up once again.
Yeah, I think at this stage, when I get something like a 2-star Poppy, I see a Tier and a Morello already on hand as well. I imagine that it is going to be some sort of Star Guardian build here for Jinghua, and I imagine that's what we're going to be looking at going forward. There's no real need to try and deviate from this, and having the Sigs on the board again, might be looking for a box to drop here, so there is always the opportunity to deviate in towards that Rebel composition as well if you'd like to, and grab that Malphite, which is in your shop, but...
But it is kind of smart, right? When you think about getting two second place placements. That was a really hard thing to say. But to guarantee top 2, you don't need to be first every time. You just need to get into the top 2, and Jinghua was our second, or our runner-up in game 1. So if he goes towards that path once again. Dagda, items on the left. What do you like? What do you don't?
Well, I'm looking again at Aiken, who's already got the makings of a Shroud there for himself. He wants to go towards something like a mech. AlphaGo as well, having that BF sword, and the Negatron could look towards an Infiltrator composition for something like a Shaco, or if he wants to again as well work towards mech. We already talked about the presence of that Protector, or at least the Star Guardian build there for Jinghua, who's currently fighting against Moonlight on your screen. But we'll have to see what the decision making is here as we go forward. Nothing too heavily locked in apart from Jinghua here, who slammed the Morello Nomicon, just to give him that early game buff to try and ride out the win streak. Because you can see already he's level to 4, whereas when you look at Moonlight, still sitting at 3, so he will be looking for a more econ-oriented gameplay where he wants to try and hit that 10 gold off of the round just before Carousel, so then he can then level and start to catch up with everyone else. We're looking more at an econ-focused opportunity here.
Okay, having a look at Koro though, who was hyper-rolling early in the game. Dagda doesn't feel like we've really changed that much.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of rolling right now. I mean, he can. Honestly, I'd sell most of your bench here and try and just hit the econ break point. It looks like he's thinking the same thing.
Dagda.
Yeah, because yeah, I'd rather just see you get to that 10 gold already. A lot of those units are kind of meh, but you've already hit a strong Celestial Protector game here, so no real need to try and play around with anything else in your bench.
Weird always seeing a Xin Zhao attack from range.
Yeah. Unfortunate for him though, probably won't win out on this, especially as we've already got the Jace there, who will be doing quite a lot of damage. It's going to be difficult for them to try and get through this Vanguard front line with the Mordekaiser as well, so has to sell one of those Fiores in the end.
6-2 helps with that too. I'm very curious to Aichen, who in game 1 was actually out first, to see what he's building. We're going to have to get used to not being able to control this.
I have a feeling that with Aichen already, scrambling down the lineup there, where he's taken a couple of losses now, sitting on, what was it, 94, I think I saw him on.
He's on 100 right now.
Oh, he's on 100, is he? My bad. I was going to say maybe he's got the opportunity to go towards something like the he already had the he already had the rapid fire cannon completed, so could look towards another recurve and tend towards that Blade Master build as well. But I'm curious to see if they do get their hands on that. Sorry, it's Moonlight. I'm getting Aiken confused with.
That's all right. You know, we know that Aiken is the very diverse player like Star Guardian, Cybernetics. Looking at Beta here right now. Beta, who also was towards the bottom of the ladder in game 1, so desperately needs a win.
Hey, could actually have Beta win out here. He's got a really nice early game comp. We talked about Ziggs 2 is really good at getting through these Vanguard opportunities that you're looking at here, especially already having that Protector with the Nico plus Darkstar. That's a lot of extra damage that's coming through and a great front line. So a nice start here coming through for himself, but he'll have to see now what kind of opportunities he can set up for on this carousel. That's one of the things when you're looking towards these early win streaks is that you end up way far down the list on the items that you can pick up, so you've got to ride out that gold opportunity and start to hit those higher levels so you can win out through your actual units on the board more so than the item dependency.
Alpha Go just picked up the recurve bow. Just like, well, see you next time, brother. Yeah.
Well, he's already slammed the likes of this Zephyr. He's going to be, could have a Giant Slayer here for himself. I'm not sure if he's going towards something like Cybernetics or even a Blaster Brawler game that could work out pretty well with this, but I'm looking at Aichin here, who's got so many Brawler gloves for himself. As already the QSS, or not the QSS, the Shroud, and also looking towards that Infinity Edge if he really wants to. So Juanzi actually, so this was the guy that we talked about who was the Blade Master aficionado, moving over instead towards a Space Pirate build at the moment. Now, the thing is, I'd rather see him looking to hit the Econ here, because especially when you got a 2-star Darius, you can ride out this extra gold that you're going to be getting off of him killing units. So I want to see now, as we start to get towards this next round, if he's going to hang on, see what kind of gold he gets off of both having the 2 Space Pirates at level 2, or if he's just going to sell. But it looks like he's just going to hang on here and see what happens. This is not quite as satisfying when it's a Morello Nomicon. If it's something like a Rabadon's, you can see this Darius just chug his way through everyone. But yeah, there we go.
Reset.
1, 2, 3, and yeah, he got 1 gold off it. Even with the Bard there as well. Like, this is a super strong setup that you want for Space Pirates. The Bard hitting you towards that level 8, level 9 point, so you can look for your 4th Space Pirate in the Gangplank. Having a 2-star Darius to be your mid-game carry, and just overall getting an influx of gold from this Space Pirate duo. You'd love to find a Jace, but the items at the moment are a little bit shaky for him. Jace works super well with something like Ionic Spark, or can kind of work with the Bramble Vest as well, but certainly the go-to at the moment is something like a Hextech Gunblade, but not having that opportunity here for the Jace means that the Jace won't quite be as strong a carry in this mid-game.
Just looking across the board, we're having a look down the lineup. But back to Juanzi once again, the champion of game number 1, going up against Koro. Koro still sitting on this Protector and filling in the void while he builds up his Econ.
Yeah, playing against Koro here, he's still running this Protector style comp.
Yeah.
You can see as well it has gone towards the Negatron Cloak that's sitting on his bench, so it looks like at some point Koro does want to try and transition in towards this Blade Master, pick himself up another recurve. He's sitting down in the second last position, so, well, unfortunately just got overtaken, but still going to be looking to see if on these early carousels he can lock himself in another recurve and then tend towards a better position off of the Blade Master's build.
Strangely looking at one of them, but going a different path. Sitting in front of the Bramblebacks. Now, sir, I will ask, and hope blessed we have a look at someone outside Juanzi, because we've been stuck on him a while. Maybe we look through.
No, we don't get that control.
We don't get the control, mate. I've said it many times. Hot tip. Can I see someone else?
Either way, I'm curious to see what this build goes from Juanzi. We already said, like, look, if you want to go towards 4 Space Pirate, fantastic. His gold isn't in the best of position, but holding on to something like this Aurelia, okay, never mind. I was going to say he's a bit curious. I think I'd rather see him hit the Econ. Aurelia doesn't really fit into this composition. And one of the mistakes that newer players will fall into is, like, even if it is like, oh, I'm going Blade Masters, buying a super early Aurelia at this stage, unless you're in a really good spot, can actually hurt your Econ too much. You should try and hold off on certain cases. Now, maybe Aurelia is a bad example, because in a Blade Master composition, because you spike so early, it's good to hang on to her. But definitely in some other compositions, picking up an early 4-cost unit like that just ruins your econ so heavily that it's not worth it in some situations.
Hey, we're now looking a little bit at Shikeke again, who has built up the battle cast to start this game off with the level 2 allowing.
This is actually one of my favorite comps. The only thing is that he's leveled. I love playing a hyper roll battle cast, well, slow roll battle cast comp, where what you'll do is you won't put any points in towards leveling. You get towards where you get to 5, you slow roll down, try and find your Alawi 3, your Nocturne 3, and then look, you can start to, or Graves 3 even, then you go towards getting your Cogmaw 3. And if you've got Cogmaw with, say, something like a Static Shiv, Ruins, and a Web buff, you're proccing so often this battle cast that it works out super, super well. But it's not a very stable composition, so glad to see that we're not opting into that for Shikeke.
Okay, we'll wait and see what else comes through. Back to Drenzer though, because we're building up here on the Space Pirates, now actually Brawler synergies, excuse me.
Beta is looking pretty heavy in on this Dark Star composition. So it's good to see these guys doing a little bit of scouting to figure out, all right, cool, what are we looking at here? But this is the thing that you'll notice very differently about the lower level plays versus the higher level TFT is that, like, a lot of the times people won't hard commit to compositions very early. They would just play whatever the strongest board is that they have right now. It's more about maintaining this high health rather than, okay, well, you know, this fits into my late game composition, therefore I'm holding on to it.
Okay, so giving yourself a bit more time while not
a little bit more wiggle room.
Yeah. Right now, Drenzy is kind of riding this high that he found earlier on with his Space Pirates and feeling pretty good with his economy as well.
Yeah, he's in a good spot. That's the thing with Space Pirates is they will tend to give you really good opportunities. Yeah. And that's how you try to snowball into an early gangplank is by hitting these super early breakpoints on your levels. If you look at your levels, usually you'll try and hit something like level 6 around 3-2. Your level 7, if you really want to, you can go for an early one at about 3-5. Otherwise, you go for it on around stage 4-1. And then level 8, you can see come in some cases as early as 4-3. And then go for these super early roll downs. But that's only realistically the case if you've had like an early Bard and you've got some super high econ. Otherwise, you end up kind of teetering in towards the later stage 4, if not stage 5-1 before you hit that level 8. But 5-1 would be a relatively late level 8. This is the power of a blue buff Syndra. So basically the way Syndra works is that she'll consistently, every time she ults, will then use these spheres that are on the ground to ult again. So you end up dealing more damage as you ramp up. So having a strong front line in particular, when we look towards Starguard Zork and the Nico, it's about making sure Nico survives long enough so you can get multiple versions of the Syndra ult off and just tear through Hellfire's next stage.
Starting with our next little carousel.
Oh, Koro got his recurve, did he?
Yeah, he did.
Yes, so Koro is definitely going to be looking for these Blade Masters now, because that's his rapid fire. He already had the Negatron Cloak bench, so he's looking for his Ruins Hurricane. Even having the Needlessly Large Rod as well there is fantastic. Means that then he can always go towards that Jewel Gauntlet or the Rabbit Out Deck Cap, but some sort of AP in there to just maximize how much damage this Master Yi will have. And right now, looking at the items across the board on the left-hand side of your screen, there's not anyone that can really contest them for this build, so it looks like he could be in a really good spot in terms of builds.
Koro's just hit level 6 as well.
Yeah, don't roll down. There's no need to roll down. You can just look towards your level 7 and then start to slow roll down, because honestly, the big champions that you're looking for are going to be, well, there you go, your Shen, you're going to be looking towards the likes of your Yasuo, and then your Master Yi as well.
Somebody wanted to shop.
I think this is just too early for roll down. If he's trying to go towards this, yeah, there you go. I was going to say, too early of a roll down if you're going towards this Master Yi build. I would have preferred he tried to hit 7, because the thing is, you still need to hit something like Morelia or the Ribbon to get that 6 Blade Masters alongside everything else. So I think a slower roll would have done well, but has only lost 1 gold here. It's not the end of the world. And I suppose when you're on this low of a health bar, trying to stabilize is probably a better shout as well.
Doesn't feel too worried. Still on that loss streak, so maintaining the income coming in.
I mean, you're definitely going to have a... There you see, Yasuo. Right. You're definitely going to have a loss streak using a 34 health. Like, he's definitely feeling the pressure right now, and not being able to get some of these early Yasuo's on these rolls. It's not going great. There's the Riven
one.
that he wants. So that's going to be his 4 cost Blade Master. So now he just needs to find that Master Yi. And it's going to roll right the way down to try and find this. He's not getting lucky. Four Blade Masters are in. He more than like, actually no, maybe not with the telecast. So I wasn't sure if he was going to end up losing here. This is going to be relatively close. Might have to Xinjiao just have to carry. He needs to try and win out as many of these as he can until he can find this Master Yi.
But still would have preferred. You still would have preferred seeing him head towards 7 instead.
I would have, but it's kind of a hard call because you are super low. Level 7 is going to be a bit far off. He didn't really. He had the econ where he could have gone for a level 7 or 3-5, but there's the Master Yi anyway. So he does survive. It was more so about trying to maintain that health bar. So the fact he only lost 1 and then won the next one means he's in relatively good shape. Just needs to try and find that Master Yi 2 to massively stabilize, but either way, he's now okay where he should be able to hit towards the later stages like that late stage 4 or stage 5 with keeping this health bar for himself.
And has that needlessly large, as we talked about, the dual gauntlet possibilities, the third final item here on the Master Yi? Or
There it is.
Double, all right.
Yeah, there it is. He's got that dual gauntlet, so he's just going to slam that straight onto the Master Yi here. He's just double checking. I'm imagining he is anyway. I mean, I'd be very surprised if he didn't. But you can see again here he's going for this, with the Z pickup, he's going for this Rebel variant, trying to make sure that he can try and provide it. This is something that's started to opt in a little bit more with Blade Masters as well, is going towards this power, or the Chalice of Power on the Yasuo, so you can provide even more AP towards that Master Yi.
So is GG go next again, Dagden?
Not yet.
Good.
Not yet. He hasn't even
At
hit.
least got 2.
He needs the Master Yi, well, 2 to kind of hit that top 4.
And then
If
3
he
to
wants
end it, right?
3 to end it, but I don't think we're going to see it, especially with how these rolls have been going so far. Having the same impact as Dwenzu in the last one, where Dwenzu just hit the perfect Blade Masters.
At the very least, it's going to be pretty evident here. As the core is shifting.
He's not going to be able to, yeah.
Okay.
This GA, there you go, yeah. You're not going to be able to. So this is the issue, is that he needs to find that 3 cost. And I think here I'd rather see him slow roll for maybe one more round, although he might need to roll down to 30 here just to try and make sure that he finds up the level. So this isn't a big deal here. When you look at the stats here for Master Yi, you still have a 35% chance of rolling a level 3 at level 7. So, or sorry, 3 cost at level 7, so he's just trying to see if he can find anything here, and it's not quite going his way. I would forego holding on to these Yasuos. It is so much more important that you actually get this Master Yi than having like a Yasuo 3.
Zed goes in. Gone back to 10, so.
I'd also swap the Aurelia with the Fiora. Even if you plan on going like to hold on to the Fiora to the later portion of the game, or maybe you want to go for something like the Cybernetics when you push 8, I think I'd still rather just Fiora, or Aurelia is going to do more work than the Fiora at the moment. And you can see at the moment, because Koro is struggling so heavily, just every little bit of damage that he can keep off himself is going to work wonders.
We've been looking at Koro for quite a bit. I'm interested to see. I don't know. Interested to see how we're going across the board, because Jones maintained this high quite a bit. But I guess the way this game's shaping out, depending on the rolls that's coming through for Koro, it feels like.
Oh, there's Ayi. But this is the problem that I have with going for this this Yasuo, even, is that like, okay, well now chances are you're gonna have to start selling some of these guys that you would have liked to hold on to. Okay, he actually ends up using the
Nico's help, yeah.
But I mean, what's a Yasuo 3 really going to do for you right now? It's much more important that you actually are able to hold on to the econ and then get the this level 2 Master Yi. But roll the whole way down, wasn't able to find it, forced to use Nico, and now it's a case of, okay, let's try and econ back up, and then we can start rolling for these massive upgrades like these things. He will. Yeah. He's in a good spot. He has stabilized. It's just, it cost him a lot to get to this point.
But you know what? Koro is our kiddies of game 2. Right? It's the underdog story begins now.
You just want to hold on to the LPL, ex-LPL players to see if we can manage their story here.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. It's not looking as good. These are kind of the Blade Master games where you kind of go,
Well,
I
we
didn't
tried, yeah.
quite get it. Yeah.
True.
And this is why a lot of the other regions have kind of said, look, if you get given Blade Masters, fantastic, run with it. It is such a strong composition. But in situations like this where it's not quite working out for you, it can end up really hurting your chances.
That's why, you know, I always favor players who can shift on the fly, where we don't see, like, they head for this comp that is so minute of a window that you can't guarantee.
Yeah, and the flexible players have been the most successful in the other regions globally as well. So this is why hard forcing these compositions never quite works out just as well as you want to. But we are passing over towards Aiken here, who
Darkstar.
has got Darkstar already, got the snipers there. You're looking at some really good items for that Shaco as well. Would love to get the rapid fire cannon onto him as well, but I don't think he'll be getting his hands on any recurve bows anytime soon.
It's kind of the comp that AlphaGo was trying to run, or at least partially in game number 1. It's been one of his favorite. We had a quick look there. I'm not too sure.
He's such good items for that Fizz as well. Having the Darkstar spatula plus that Frozen Heart. So because you have this Fizz who's going to be jumping into the backline, especially against the Master Yi, being able to slow that attack speed plus providing a bunch of CC. This is not good for Koro. This is like the worst thing for him.
It really is. Good timing, right?
Oh no.
Won't be
poor Koro.
the full wipe, but yeah, this kind of puts him down to bare minimum. We go across the board, looking at beta for now. It's just still on Archenhu. What Darkstar is he missing? What are we looking to 6?
I imagine it's the Xerath that he wants to try and get when he gets that level 8, but I mean, there's still enough that you can try and move a little bit of flexibility into there. I wasn't quite able to spot what he was missing when it came to that, but here we go. You can see Koro desperately trying to see if he can hold on to this. I would have probably preferred to see him spread out his Blade Masters a little bit at the moment, just with the prevalence of the mech players. He's kind of setting himself up to be in a bit of an awkward spot. You can always centralize the Master Yi as well, like you can kind of see him doing right now.
Yeah.
So then you're able to, no matter what side this squads are set up, you can always guarantee you're hitting multiple people.
Should be fine here, right?
Should be, yeah. Should be okay. Although that CC is going to be a bit of a pain.
But he's
either way, he's all good. Yeah, he'll be okay for the moment. It's just a case of like the Fizz, where you got the Fizz with the Frozen Heart into a bunch of CC. It's really going to hurt him. It's kind of the downside of this Master Yi is that because you go for a third aggressive item in the Rabadons or in the Dual Gauntlet, because you think, okay, well, he can just heal through whatever the issue is. If you aren't able to do that, because you don't have a G8 or you don't have something like the Quicksilver or the Shroud, it makes it a little bit more difficult to manage these fights.
Having a look over at Agent here again, the Darkstar composition we talked about. The synergy's been built, nice little graphic on the right-hand side, noting that we are heading towards that, you know, late game point. Heading to round 5 after this, so drops necessary now. Already built up on the Yi on the side of Koro for his Blade Master comp. We were complimenting the Fizz itemization here before. We've got a Shaco who might be in need of that rapid fire cannon, but unfortunately no double recurve available. And we're just going to give over the Zephyr to Medusa on the bench, while 6 Darkstar synergy going to be built up here. And as you mentioned also before, waiting for that Xerath, so placeholder for now here for Agent.
Yeah, he'll eventually start subbing in some of these units and try and fit in that Xerath. Doesn't have something like the Gwynsu's though, so the Xerath doesn't work quite as well without that Gwynsu's. It's kind of a well-needed item for the Xerath. Just having that ultimate, getting that attack speed buff is super important for him to be useful. But definitely having the double sword buff in some situations is just much more important. But Urgot not going to be able to snipe at anyone there, too lower levels. And this now is actually looking like it could just about favor Hachin.
Zephyr trick again there, Dagda. But, oh man, the Teemo carry is as toxic as it is in League of Legends, but then Jin happened as Shikeke. Oh, here we go again, Dagda.
Yeah, the invitees aren't doing too hot this round, I'm going to say. Koro's on 6, you got Shikeke on 3.
Hey, this is where he flourishes, Dagda.
Yeah.
It's all winning from here, even though he's, well,
it's just a strange, like, he is trying to go for this Astro build, opted in towards the Cassiopeia as the Mystic, instead of going towards something like the Karma, which would have given the Darkstar. Plus, you get that attack speed for your Teemo or over towards the Jhin, I think would have been a lot stronger. So Battlecast, especially as we've hit this stage 5, most people are going to hit that level 8 at this stage.
Oh, no.
I would have preferred to see something like a Karma because the attack speed is far more important, but the double end!
Oh, I know, I was like, oh no, because we've got the split cam.
Yeah, this is not gonna.
This is not gonna end
I'm
well.
watching Koro on the bottom is
the
already
Becca.
gone. It looks like
Oh no.
yeah, both are not gonna be able to make this. Shikeke there.
Together
Koro
they
to follow.
die.
Yeah, Shikeke will take the bottom place though, that 8th place spot. Going to -14. Koro will go 7th, -9. We'll be finding out fairly soon who's going to be joining them, and it looks like it may actually be Moonlight, who's just holding on at 17 health.
Well, for any of our audience who missed that, Koro and Shikeke went out together as pro players, as brothers do. So now we're left with 6. As Beta kind of on the nice edge here as well, but
I'm surprised to see the positioning here from Moonlight. Usually it's just the Nico that's in the front line because you want that full focus on towards her with the... So you want multiple members to surround her, so then the Ionic Spark will reduce the magic resist, and as well because she's got the Warmogs, you want her to be trying to survive a lot longer. Having the Rakan just ends up splitting up a lot of the damage or a lot of the attention and isn't quite as strong, but either way, may just be able to hold on here. Soraka coming in touch with that heal.
yeah.
There you go. This is the power of this Star Guardian comp when you've got the items that you do right now.
So much CC, like you don't move. Frustrating diverse, Beta dead. And, that's why I said he was in a bit of trouble. Gonna finish out here in 6th. And, you know, for people like Shikeke and Beta, these 2 lower star performances. I mean, game 1, I think he was 5th. Game 2 here, going down so low, could have just put them out of the running for the top 2. Redemption bracket is 3 to 6 overall.
Oh god, Moonlight's eyeing up the
and,
Star Guardian. Oh, he's not gonna. I thought he would have gone for the Star Guardian GP just to be like, right, we're getting a couple of these ults in, but
True.
opting for the Ludens instead just to go for it. I don't know. I don't think maybe the GP isn't good. I just would have liked to see it, to be
Just
honest.
add on.
Yeah.
To layer
I mean,
on
it doesn't
top.
really work. I mean, maybe you take out the. Nah, you can't really have anything that you really take.
I like
out
your
to slap it
optimism.
in, but yeah, it would have been fun. It would have been nice.
I definitely liked it.
So like,
with the mana, right? What
yeah, the
GP
only thing.
just
Yeah.
fires down all
So
the
the
time.
only thing is like, when you look at Star Guardians, you want to be pretty careful with the Star Guardians that you put in, because the whole idea is that the synergy spreads that mana between the other Star Guardians that are there, right? But if you have someone that's not really ulting very quickly, he's not providing to that battery, that mana battery, that starts to get everyone else rolling. So when you've got Gangplank, who's got like the highest mana in the game, if you just give him over the Star Guardian, he's just a drain on your battery. At that stage, he's that app that doesn't switch off on your phone and you look down, you got 30% left and you don't understand
Yeah.
why.
Oh, we're having a close look at Ancient here, who has built up this Dark Star. We've got the Mystic alongside. And that's Wrath now powering through with Thief's Glove.
Doesn't really have any attack speed items. You can see the difference there though, especially when he's only level 1. So ain't looking so hot there, as the Thief's Glove's actually working out better in favor of Alpha,
Absolutely.
especially when he's level 1.
Well, it'd be nice to roll something good. What do we got for the next round? Okie dokie. At least some attack speed there, Dagda.
Yeah, it'll be something, but yeah, this is not going to be looking too good. I'm actually looking at AlphaGo, who just we saw fight against Ochin there. Going for the Cybernetics, looking pretty good at the moment.
Yeah.
As you can see with that win streak, not many people that can really fight against them. I think Juenza, I want to have a look at as well, because we did see him go for those early space parts. I'm curious to see if he's stuck with that call or if he has deviated from it.
We're also having a look at Drenzu, our champion from game 1. Qinghua going up here, the
Astro
runner-up in game
Snipers.
1. And yeah, those Astro Snipers you mentioned. She's not adding a lot of work here to this roster.
Yeah, and these are good items for the Gnar because you basically guarantee this ult with the GA and also just the survivability with the Bramble Vest. Means that you've always got this strong front line, which means Teemo is just running away in the back line. And
Bye-bye.
you see there, Ochin is going to go down. So Qinghua, he's looking pretty damn good right now. So that's 2 top 4 finishes now, and especially a second place finish for Qinghua is absolutely amazing.
I mean, again, Drenzu, right? He's sitting up in that top 4 spot once again. There is also a Rabadon's Death Cap coming through here, which is...
It sucks. You can see the frustration because he put that Ludens on towards his Teemo. He can't actually put the Rabadons onto it now.
What do you put it on?
I think you're probably going to put onto the Wukong, because Wukong's Cyclone actually does quite a lot of damage anyway. So I imagine that's going to be the best bet.
Throw it on the Ash.
I usually if I got like a Morello's or something like that, or something along these lines, I put onto Wukong anyway.
Yeah.
Because he will go towards the back line, the opportunity to take out a couple of them if you can set that up with a couple of Teemo Shrooms. So there is an opportunity there. There's the finish off on the Lulu.
Yeah.
Now, Xinghua, it's a little bit late, but always an opportunity to kind of talk about is the... yeah, he can't do it. He tried.
Oh, nah. Okay.
I think I still would have preferred the Wukong to the Gnar. Especially just Wukong's more consistent. Gnar, you can jump in, only ult 1 or 2 members, and you don't really get that full use. Whereas Wukong, because he spins between everyone, you're guaranteed to get a lot of value out of it. Here you go. You can see, got the ult. Doesn't do a huge amount, but either way, it's still, hey, look, beefy front line. It's going to do a lot of work. There we go. Going to be able to just about close this up.
Just about right. A lot of GAs on the side of Drenza. What guy?
No, he won't. He'll be down taken low, though, and this is really where we're starting to get to crunch time. This is an example where AlphaGo, because he gets such a strong mid-game, can now, even if he's losing, just outlast the members that are here and put himself into a higher spot. But we haven't looked quite at AlphaGo. Moonlight we're seeing still with this Protector style. I think especially now that he's got the Morello on towards the Rakan, I'd much prefer him to see the Rakan move into the backline and get some more value out of this Rakan pick, but we'll have to see what the plan is here for himself. Otherwise, AlphaGo, I think, especially when you're looking at 4 HP for Zhuangzi right now, you've got 4, maybe 3 losses left in you as AlphaGo, so you're totally fine.
Let's have a look and see how this goes. Kind of death door here for the champion of game 1. The Mecha surviving is a good kind of thing to come.
Yeah, there's a lot of CC coming in with Janna. A level 2 Janna, even without having that mana engine for herself between the Shojin or the Blue Buff, just does so much work.
All right, Drenza out in 4th. Now, because he got first in 1, again, if he gets first in another, he guarantees, well, with actually 4th in this, he should actually guarantee first place. He can do it again. So things still looking good considering he finished in the top side of this second game. But now it is the story about AlphaGo and Moonlight, who's maintained this win streak. Moonlight in a very good position, actually. What do you think? What do you think, Dagda? This is don't sigh. What's wrong?
It's more so I think Moonlight actually should be relatively okay. I think Xinghua going for these Astro Snipers won't quite be able to get through the front line here. We'll see now. And especially with how spread out these are, that Gnar that we talked about isn't going to get as much value as you expect. Even jumping back, that was not the direction, Gnar.
The worst ult I've ever seen.
And then you've already got Sindra, who's ramping up. There goes both the carries there for Xinghua. I mean, yeah, that was Gnar trolling. I'm sorry.
Wow, that's so sad. Oh, that's so sad. Well, 3rd. So Moonlight guarantees top 2 here in game 2. Now, against AlphaGo, Dagda, comp-wise, what do you favour?
Well, I mean, as you can look from the streaks, at least so far, AlphaGo isn't getting the better of Moonlight, but we got to just kind of wait and see. Moonlight eyeing up this Star Guardian, but again, this is what we talked about with the mana battery. If you start adding more units to this, it's not that you get more mana, you do get more units ulting that can contribute to that battery. You just got to be careful about who you use that with. However, not really finding the units that you'd like.
Nope.
Could put on towards the Lulu, but again, you will get an earlier ult coming through from the Lulu. She will be able to ult a little bit more, but her ult is slightly larger, and she doesn't ult as often because she is only a level 1 unit, so it will be taken away from some of the power from Syndra, but if you're getting the use out of the CC more from Lulu, it will be worth. And against the Cybernetics composition, it's not the worst. You can see he's actually repositioned really well here to just block off his main carry, the Syndra, and just trying to avoid that Aurelia as much as possible.
Let's look, gets exactly who Moonlight wants here. Well, actually, no.
That Lulu went down too quick to get the ult off, and this Aurelia is just smacked.
Yeah,
there was no CC chain there for a second.
Okay.
There we go.
I thought the Blitz took. I was like, never mind, that's all right. Then I realized, why not be cool? All right, well, Janna getting smacked. That makes a difference, and there we go, Dagda. There we go. There we go.
Both times, though, looking at these games, we've seen kind of those compositions that we highlighted at the start of the day really coming into fruition. So Cybernetics looking fantastic, even if you're not able to get that infiltrator spot.
Sure.
And honestly, like Star Guardians as a composition as a whole, that usually does pretty well against this Cybernetics, because you are able to position in a certain way that it's very difficult for the Cybernetics to try and get through the backline or get to the backline. But I think in that situation where the Lulu was in the front, she's not providing CC, she's not buying enough time. The positioning as well on the Rakan and that Nico wasn't positioned to actually stop the Aurelia, who was the main carry in that fight at the end. So I think a bit of a positioning error coming through at the end there for not AlphaGo, for Moonlight. So.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
No, we got there in the end, but it's important. Again, like my contribution to this conversation will be points matter, the top 2 matters. You know, I know the format.
Yeah.
I know the format very well. I know where teams are going, what people are doing. But right now, my pick for top 2, I think Drenzu still hitting top 4 is big since he won the last one. AlphaGo, I'm not sure I caught his. I think it was a lower tier position in game 1. So he evens out.
I think he got a kind of a 6th, 7th. I think he was 6th.
I think Qinghua in a very good position as well. So Drenzu and Qinghua right now are the 2 I would pick from Group A. The way things have been going. Also good to see like someone like Drenzu adapting throughout that, even hitting top 4 in the end. It was a change in composition. Knew he couldn't really run with the same, you know, didn't want to opt in for Blade Masters again. Was like, whatever. AlphaGo hit some much needed points and ended with 45 HP. Not a bad way to round out his second game.
Yeah, and this is just a super strong finish. You can see he's gotten his full cybernetic team online, even adding the sniper into the Ash, had that chrono as well coming through from the Thresh. So overall, this is just a super strong composition. He hit a lot of his late game units and had that super strong carry between the Vayne and the Aurelia.
I mean, yeah, we talked about the Vayne carry earlier in the show as well, and how the itemization affected him here in the second game. Bit of a highlight package for you, which I'm still excited we have. I mean, the music's just popping off on this stream, honestly. We've gone Galaxy Digital. The aliens listen to this music. That's why it's so futuristic.
You ready to see the double kill on both Shikek and Core? Actually, no, we're not going to
get it.
No, we've skipped past it. But either way, look, I think we can see the major players here and how the flexibility of players is going to be the big difference maker here. Drenza, as you rightly pointed out, that early Blade Masters in game 1, then coming into Space Pirates to start things off, to get his, like even with the Bard, just start funneling resources into himself, making it a lot easier to hit that late game moment. And wasn't quite able to get it across the line, but now we're adding AlphaGo into that as well with the Cybernetics. So definitely think we're going to see players starting to mix it up. And obviously a lot of players in Group B as well will be watching Group A today to start to figure out what the meta is, how you can start to counteract it. I'm surprised we haven't seen more mech players, to be honest.
Yeah, very
I
true.
thought we'd see a lot more of it, especially as you look, just an uncontested mech is an incredibly strong composition, because you can get these super quick rumbles, fizzes, annies. Even if you want to start looking for 3 stars in certain situations, it can work out. But players just aren't really going towards the likes of the Shrouds early, or going towards Titan's Resolve and these kind of things.
I mean, I guess the amount of, snipers we're seeing, especially with the Vaynes on the Convergence, the Rift, the amount of Last Whisper items we're getting through as well. It's kind of just like, well, we're going to adapt on the fly. Mech Sorcerer, a comp we talked about heavily at the start of the day, and how we expected to see, like, as one of the most stable compositions, and with easy transition periods that can really roll up.
Yeah, especially when I'm looking at the amount of recurve bows that are being contested here, both
especially in the second game.
Yeah, exactly. The way that you kind of deal against the mech is either going into the IE Last Whisper comp, duo item as you talk about, the combo, or looking instead towards something like a Giant Slayer that you can just rip through that massive health bar. But the fact that you're not getting a huge amount of these IE Last Whisper builds, because recurves are gone, and there's a lot of contention on towards the Brawler gloves in a lot of situations, and then we're looking over at Giant Slayers not coming through as well. I think mech could actually work out super well here, so maybe we will see coming into game 3, and that consistency that we talked about, especially for some of the players that are already sitting high up in our rankings, could just push them across the line.
Yeah, people like Drenza, people like Qinghua as well, putting himself up a bit is AlphaGo with that win in the second game. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a bit of a break, run in with our final game of the night, game number 3 here for the TOC. We'll be right back.
Hey yo, everybody, this is TFT. Hey bro， 记得吗 ？Let's go, everybody, just let me。民族选秀，我们是出手，想到装备，全帮他们抢走。今天的手气不太 OK， 一起在被发配成队，快你的步子还没装备，足不打死就全部赔了。天舞感区预感的第一号去被拖卡成弟弟，我们的战术极限优秀，但是没有钱还不够肉。够大50块，这个历史吧，没装备的异性就想刮痧，这个球我让我打一下下，我比我的对手让他胡闹看我，就人口皮皮草草，无敌羁绊，速度血量，爆出的是不会被断。找不出意外，不会翻盘，到处退场，有点遗憾，但气势不凡。我就在下一局等你，下着我们的棋等的是你，大家一直都在等你，最强羁绊我们待在一起。我就在下一局等你，下着我们的棋等的是你，大家一直都在等你，最强羁绊我们待在一起。参加这 party， 一定是意义中连一届的胜利。参加这 party， 大家在云顶等你 ，You and me。
In the tears smile again. I wanna see you smile again. Now the storm is over. Your best chapter begins. You're gonna win. I wanna see you smile again.
They want to see us smile again. That song was all about Shikuka and Koro. Their heads bowed after getting eliminated together. Brothers from LPL. I don't know if they're eliminated, but I tell you what, they're probably pretty close at this point. They need a first, but even then, things get difficult. I'm Asterix. This is Dagda. You guys can read. You know what's going on. Ladies and gentlemen, I keep doing this all the time. MVP of Game 2. No, we do have the leaderboard for you, though. Thank you so much to our production for putting this together.
Oh, you are struggling.
Oh, I really am. And this is what I was saying before. Drenza picked up a first in game number 1, and that time around got to the top 4, so he got 5 points. But remember, the top 3 have much more weighting with the individual points. So AlphaGo skyrocketing up after getting smacked down in 6th in game 1. And Dagda, look who's near the bottom. Look at him. On 5 points.
Oh, Beta.
All right.
Too many jokes to be made. Either way, going to be looking at the rest of these. I think we are actually going to be in a really good spot towards the likes of Zhuangzi, Chunghua. Like, these guys have
AlphaGo
positioned really,
Moonlight.
really well.
Yep.
But I think the biggest thing they've shown is that you do need to be flexible. Like, if you don't... Look, Blade Masters are great if you can get them working. Koro showed if you can't, not looking so hot.
I think Beta's out though, Dagda. I think it's pretty fair to say Beta, Shikeka. I mean, the chat. They look.
Yeah. So just a quick reminder to folks: top 2 from today will progress. If I could talk over towards our finals on day 4.
That's the one.
The top 3 to 6 will move on into our redemption day, which will be the 3rd day.
So
of
technically
playoffs.
not out.
Yeah.
Sorry, Derek. Don't listen to me. Not out, but out of the top 2 guarantee.
Yeah.
However, redemption bracket. We all like redemption.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what they'll be aiming
It's
for
good.
here, is trying to get into that. And then we'll have Group B tomorrow, which will be the exact same formula, which we'll see them try and progress in towards our finals and towards our redemption story. But we'll have to see if they're going to be able to move forward. So I think overall, definitely starting to see the power of this cybernetics. We're starting to see the power of this Star Guardian Sork, at least those protector style of compositions. And we'll have to see how these guys will move forward. We've seen a lot of people where they do start to get to that, like, kind of 3-5 stage full sub 60 to 50 HP, and they are struggling. They're like power rolling down, and it is just unfortunate that they haven't quite been able to find that board that will allow them to get to those later points and having to invest a lot of that econ super early.
Yeah, we are running into game 3 very, very shortly as the players come back on stage. And I say again, the music's popping off. Have you ever played a Geometry Wars? It was on the Xbox 360.
Yes, on the arcade, wasn't it?
Yeah, arcade it was. And Geometry Wars had really funky music like this while you're just going, look at the lights and all these, LED snakes are trying to eat you and bullets flying through the air. Feels like we're in a bit of Geometry Wars music territory now. And high above the Earth atmosphere, these guys playing some TFT, I'm not sure how. Internet connection
Do you
using
think
Wi-Fi.
those mics are actually like they're connected to a TeamSpeak room or something, So then they can actually talk to each other.
Wouldn't it be
like,
cool,
you
right?
Can just talk crap to the other guys.
The thing is, like, it's not like League where obviously you can't connect to the enemy and you can't get them out of their zone. I guess in the same way, you have your comfort zone. Like, you don't want to get, people start shit talking you. You're like, well, please stop that. I need to concentrate on this. That would, please can you give me the recurve bow, please? It'd throw you off, be like, I don't want that recurve bow.
Man, I'll buy you a coffee. Just give me something.
Dude, you know what? I'm going full Battlecast all game. I don't need the recurve bow. Just let me, I want it for the champion. Oh, man. Well, I tell you what, I'll be asking for this music in the LPL when we return. This is absolutely great. We are waiting to get onto the convergence.
But look, I think overall, looking at these guys, this is where you've really got to try and figure out a way that you can hit that number 1, number 2 spot. Now, it's not exactly like, apart from Juenzu, who did get that super high roll Blade Masters games, it has just been the decision making when it comes towards what composition am I going to, the use of early items to keep your mid game in a much better position.
Yep.
And then when they do get to those late stages, that's where we're really starting to see the extra health bars and those positioning paying dividends for the more experienced players.
You know, at the start of these games, all I've been looking towards is, okay, so what is this Rift, Dagda?
This is going to be the, what's the name of it? The Galactic Armory. That's the word I was looking for. But the interesting thing is, there's actually a downside. It's in super rare cases to not picking this up because the game will only give you a certain amount of items. So if you've got too many items on your bench, it won't give you more items. So if you actually hold off on taking that early orb, then you can actually wait, look and see what the other guys have done, and then maybe get a few more items for yourself. But look, it's super rare. It never really happens, but it's an interesting thing to think about. That's a very early Syndra.
Yeah.
And you've already got the tier there as well, so this is going to be looking like, at least to begin with, a Protector Protector Sork composition coming out from Xinhua to try and start things off.
A lot on the bench here. So Xinhua is the person that we were talking about, has the potential to win it all. A player to watch here in this third and final game of the night. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, 4 days of TFT broadcasting. Throwing the emotes out. Let's go. What's your favorite little legend?
Oh, I don't even know. I haven't even been able to
start.
Okay, go.
It's Pingu.
I mean,
of course,
it's the Spirit Blossom Pingu is really good.
Oh yeah,
he looks pretty slick. I don't actually own him though.
But if a dude sings Duradunga, obviously he wins. That's the best little legend. That's all that matters. And also, the one that we have over here is also cool. The rap. As Dag, do you see something cool?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Xinghua's already hit a Nico Syndra.
Oh,
so that is ridiculous to hit already. So yeah, he's more than set up for this game so far. So I think this is where you spam in the chat me Sorks no pivot, because holy god, that is a good start.
Oh yeah. We're having a look at Moonlight though for the time being, Dagda.
Oh, yeah, there you
double
go.
Recurve.
So he did get the double recurve. Instantly bought the Blade Master that he could. There was a Shen in his shop as well. Actually, no, not going to be able to. But you can see the instant, like, hang on a bloody second. I can go for Blade Master. So he does manage to pick up the Fiora. Would have loved to get the Shen that was in his shop as well. Just unfortunate that he wasn't quite able to get. But look at the recurves across the board. What is this?
Pretty much, yeah. Apart from Xinhua, Beta, and AlphaGo.
Everyone's going Blade Masters. Everyone in this game is going to be trying to go bloody Blade Masters. Okay, this is actually a bit of a different route here from Koro. He's just on Titan's Resolve. This, I don't like. I was like, okay, put one Titan's Resolve down, then look towards, okay, well, me mech, I can go towards a Brawler's Glove, get that Shroud, and then you've actually got really good items, especially when you're looking towards the needlessly that can go towards the likes of your Victor, especially when you have one tier already for a blue buff for your Victor as well. That's really, really good. But I think Koro is definitely overcommitted to a certain extent.
I think Koro's just living on the edge, to be quite honest, after what we've seen in the past couple of games of running the unlucky charts.
I don't even think he's considering mech. He didn't look towards the Shaco that he could have bought early in the stage. Now, again, this is where, especially at 2-2, buying these 3-cost units does hurt your econ so much, so you have to be able to get use out of it. So may actually just be foregoing the Shacos and the Rumbles and these kind of guys for the moment. But be curious to see as we go for Beta here.
Syndra
has got the Vanguard, has got a blue buff on this Bard. He is very much looking to power level here. Even going with the needlessly as well, just to give him a little bit more of that mana per auto attack.
It's nice when you get a Bard early in the game when we
especially
took that level 4.
Especially with Vanguards. Like, this whole thing is just like, right, how many autos can I get on the Bard? Yeah. This is a really strong comp, and this is something that can go is the Vanguard Mystic, especially when you get this super early Bard and items like this. I wouldn't be surprised to see him double down and just keep my front line alive, and let's just get as many meeps as I can on my board right now.
Let's have a look at Archon once again here. We've got double CC Rod.
I mean, so Zerat is one that, because the extra health on the minion that pops out ramps up over time. Like, sorry, as you get towards like the different stars and tiers of units. So 3-star, obviously, this is where Zerat Porter really takes on a new level. But hard committing to 2 Zerot portals when you're at this stage of the game and you actually haven't got a 2-cost unit is just really strange to me. Like, this could have been, even if you're not looking at like a Blade Master composition, that could have been a Warmogs for a mech and then a Rapid Fire Cannon for a Shaco. There's a lot that you could have, or even if you wanted to look at more towards a Blaster Brawler composition, you could have done a lot of work with that as well. Like, I don't like heavy committing to a double Zerot portal this early.
Okay. Now, where was your early Nico that we kind of praised luck of the draw?
So that was with Qinghua, who has actually lost a game or two, but we might actually get to look back at him. Either way, if he can actually get this Nico here that already has a BF sword, could add that on towards a GA for the Nico, which would be amazing, but looks like Chen has realized that himself. That's a pretty nice pickup to be able to get for yourself at these early stages, but we'll have to see now how this is going to work. Qinghua, now out at the moment, is going to go towards the belt, so you can either make that into Morellos for this Nico, or you can make it in towards a Warmogs as well, and try and keep this Nico alive as much as possible.
I'm trying to predict, you know, the Blade Master path coming through here in this third and final game with the recurve bows we've seen.
Yeah.
And who really just opts in for it right now. We haven't had a good look across the board, but still a little bit too early to fully tell. Yes. Okay, we've got the Battlecast cog set up in early static.
Yeah, I mean, look, has he? Yeah, he's actually hasn't. Okay, so this is where, oh no, he has. Never mind. Actually, sorry, I miscalculated in my head. Basically, the thing is, if you're going to go for something like a static shiv on this Kog'Maw, like the build for a kind of a battle cast style of composition, especially in the early stages, is trying to get like the red buff, the Runaan's Hurricane, as I said, and then the static.
Okay.
The static is only really good if you're going to 3-star this Kog'Maw. When you're already at this stage of the game, you've only picked up a single Kog'Maw, you're sitting on 1 Nocturne, it's not exactly the best idea to go for hyper rolls, and you're not going to get the most use out of this static shiv either, especially when you're only level 1 Kog'Maw. Sure. So at the moment, you're actually going to lose a lot of games here, or rounds here, Shikeka, while you try and get yourself up. You want to have 4 Battlecast before this really starts to come online, although looks like he's going to be able to pick up the win.
I mean, you're right in saying, you know, lose rounds. That was still close enough. But, yeah. Everyone loves Shikeka at this point, so seeing a win is a win.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the value that he's getting out of this is that Blitzcrank right now. Just being able to pull some of the carries in is going to make the big difference here, but if he can maybe find like the opportunity to put in this early Nocturne, get an early Cassiopeia, the 4 battle cast is particularly strong, just because if you get the extra damage that comes out, and then that static shiv is proccing so often onto multiple different members, it's fantastic. But yeah, we'll have to keep our eyes on Shikeka and see if he can weather this early and mid game into getting towards that Urgot in the later stages.
Here's our Infiltrator in Korra.
And Zhuanzi is most certainly looking to play Masters again. Rapid Fire and that Rabadon's Death Cap completed as well. Now, always the opportunity when you are in this sort of position to teeter instead over towards something like the mech, where you can still use, as we said, Rapid Fire onto Shaco, and you've got that Rabadon's Death Cap, so you can go towards a Victor. The thing is, right now though, he's really hurting from an econ perspective. He's leveled to 5. Like, usually you'd want to be hitting 20 gold. Okay, there's E. Never mind. I was going to say here, you're going to struggle a little bit because you want to be hitting the 20 gold usually coming in towards this, even if you have gone for these early levels. But he's sitting with so much on his bench. Looks like instead now he is just going to put a lot of these lower units in, sell his board, get to that point, any that we're talking about where you get to the 20 econ. But yeah, he'll actually be okay now. Once he, having hit those 2 Master Yis, Zhuanzi is looking to repeat his performance from game 1.
Okay. Continue the luck that we saw in game 1 as well. Potentially. I don't think you're ever going to get as clean as that. There's the Yasuo, by the way. That's
not bad.
That's a nice little pickup.
Yeah, and there's the 30 gold. That's such a good round for him. The gold that he got and being able to sell that Wukong to hit the 30 gold now puts him straight back on Econ. Like, he's in a pretty good spot. Still has that recurve. Only looking for a Negatron now to become this obnoxious Master Yi. You've already got a the Shen as well. And eventually what you can even do is start to, when you hit this next level, put in that Rakan, put in the Jarvan that's sitting on his bench as well. You get double protector, a bunch of attack speed for these units as well, and it works out so well.
Feels like we're really headed in the same direction now. We get a chance to have a look at who he's going up against. Qinghua. This is the recurve both setting it up.
Yeah, I mean, he's in a really, really good spot. And there was always going to be, like, when you saw the items that came through, there's going to
be at least one blade master.
Exactly,
right?
and I'm kind of surprised that we didn't see more people contesting this, because as we talked about, you know, we saw, like, Koro double slamming that early the Zerot portals.
Yeah, yeah.
We've got a couple of other weird items, like the Titan's Resolve that
like
came in.
double through a couple of different comps at the moment.
So it's all been a bit nuts so far, to be honest. But I think we're getting a very clear prospect of who our top players are.
Yeah.
Like Zhuangzi is looking absolutely amazing. AlphaGo as well has been doing such a good job. Jinghua as well has been looking super stellar. Even just even down to the way that Zhuangzi has worked these early plays coming off of the likes of Master Yi. Like we saw in game 1 where he had a Yi that had all these items on them, but he wasn't quite able to find something like the Rabadon's Death Cap. So quickly sold off that one cast Yi that was sitting on an easily large rod, added a Giant Slayer instead, and then was able to continue on to find that 3-cost Yi later on. So it's these little decision makings that make the difference and what puts you in towards the top spots in these games.
That's right. Being adaptable is a very key thing here. Still looking a little bit at Moonlight, who has just built up the Vanguards.
Still going to go down, though. Moonlight is not having a good time this game. I'll have to have a look at his items when we pick back over to him, because 48 health at 3-2 is really, really not good.
And we talked about this in the last game, you know, losing these really, really early rounds and then falling into a deficit, not being able to recover.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to go for the Cybernetics build. I mean, he has fantastic items for the likes of a Vayne or something like that. Even the blue buff can be spread over towards an Aurelia, but hasn't quite hit that early. Well, has hit the early Cybernetics, hasn't got honestly, I think nearly when you're on this health, slamming that Bramble Vest on towards your Leona just to give you a little bit more tanky stats would be amazing.
No, we're on it. We don't need to see the 7 loss. We're just seeing the 7 loss streak put up.
Yeah.
Just the...
Yeah, and it's not even been, like, you can have 7 loss streaks, but he's been losing heavily.
It's how you manage
at this
it,
stage.
right?
Yeah, I mean, you want to try, like, that's what we talk about a good loss, right? Is where there's 1, maybe 2 units left on the board. You're like, that's a good loss, it's a good loss. This is not a good loss, where there's about 4 units that are hammering away at you still left. Now he's on 39 health. He hasn't even got toward, well, he's just hit that level 6 after leveling on 3-2, but still, this is really dire straits here for Moonlight.
Moonlight, the person who needs a win here, otherwise will not be in a great position. Placed okay, he was top 4 last game, but Dagda, what takes your interest?
We're coming back to Zhuangzi, who wants to get a Runan's Hurricane. Actually, no Negatron Cloak on the board right now. We're seeing on the left-hand side of the screen. If you look at that very, very top one, Zhuangzi has got perfect key items, essentially. Just waiting on the Negatron, and unfortunately, there's nothing here. So he's just going to instead look towards these frontline items, which I love. I think the biggest thing that a lot of new players fall into is, hey, look, you know, I've got a bunch of items for my backline. They're so strong, they're so scary, but don't realize you need your front line there to give your backline time to actually deal the damage. So opting in towards these tankier stats. Now has a Frozen Heart as well, which is so good, especially if he's going towards potentially the Z variant. You can see sitting on his bench. If you, I know it doesn't, in a lot of situations, doesn't make sense to give the Frozen Heart to Z, as he's not a mana user, but definitely these infiltrators or units that can have access to the back line, being able to slow the attack speed across the board is amazing. Like, the thing is, when you've got, like, say, a Victor, you're like, well, as long as attack speed doesn't really matter. But you got to remember, the attack speed directly influences how quickly he stacks his mana. So they actually do have massive impact, and especially when you're looking towards even the likes of Teemo, a Jin, the Vayne, these kind of guys.
Well, he almost died thanks to Syndra.
And then Rabadon's Death Cap does the thing. So...
Yeah. But Syndra exists.
Time 2. Round 2 doesn't go so well.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is Zhuangzi. Has actually, looks like he's hyper rolled as well. He's only on 10. Oh, well, I suppose he wasn't on the best of... oh, yeah, he hit his 30 gold, actually. So he actually has hyper... I'm trying to get this right.
It's a midlife crisis, feels like.
Yeah, but Zhuangzi did manage to hit the 30 gold coming out of Crow Ground, but it looks like he... Then, after leveling on 3-2, hasn't quite been able to keep that econ up, sitting on 10 gold, trying to roll down to get this level 2 Yi. A bit of a greedy play. Again, I think, especially when you're not actually being contested for these Blade Masters, just going towards 7, keeping your econ in a better position would have been the call, but unfortunately not finding the Yi, now struggling with econ-wise. you might see Zhuanzi starting to fall back down the ranks a little bit.
We'll see, because he's got that level 2 Yi that should be able to... Well, doing the rest, I guess.
Should be able to carry him. That's the thing, though. He did hit the level 2 Yi. I wasn't sure if he would be able to, but of course, doesn't have that Ruin's Hurricane yet, so having Hyper invested in this without having the carry in place yet, thanks to items, not going to be so hot. But you're looking at, like, Moonlight here. He's fully rolled down, realizing, look, at 39 health, I need to find something. So has managed to stabilize, but Econ is now hurting desperately, so Moonlight needs to pray that this lobby doesn't get away from him, where you just end up with a bunch of people with those early units, great items, and he just ends up being left for dust as the rest of the lobby snowballs ahead.
Well, speaking of which, we're going to see this double Zizzy right here in action, and how that translates with the drops in front. All right.
So, nice items here. So, has got the Chalice of Power. One of the more potent items that has started to go towards the likes of Ari in these kind of compositions to set up for Syndra. I'd prefer, however, an Ionic Spark straight onto the... No, don't do it. No. Okay. I was going to say I would have preferred an Ionic Spark on towards the Nico in the front line, because although Syndra is great in this composition, you need the time for her to ramp up. And having this Nico who provides a bunch of magic resist debuff is much nicer, but not going to be the call here. Instead, trying to see if he can go for this Rabadon Deathcap or Jewel Gauntlet for the Syndra.
I was hoping we would be against Koro here in this screen, because I'm just wondering what is happening to the MSI winner down at the bottom.
Not good things.
No, we actually haven't got to have a look at Koro, and I can't remember what he was building. The problem again, ladies and gentlemen, just note that we are not controlling the spectator. We are just kind of relying on what's happening over on the Chinese side. Shikeke moves up a little bit. Let's wait and see that.
So
hey, there we go.
So we are over with Koro. Level 7, so has just level 2-7, so good timing on the level 7. Has gone for this mech composition, and that's what we were talking about with this Titan's Resolve. Imagine that he is going to go mech, especially with the Negatron Cloak that he got off of his first round. But the issue here is that, like, the Titan's Resolve, the double amount isn't the greatest. See here as well, there we go, Rumble going to be picked up. So his front line is really strong right now. And this now gives him the opportunity, despite the fact that he's rolled down, he'll be able to manage his econ, get back up into a position where he can hit, well, if he wants to go towards 8, but certainly he wants to be putting Victor into the position that Ari's in. And with the changes that were made to the Hextech Gunblade, you are so strong with this because you heal off of the abilities, but also having the overshield that comes through that you can see on the Ari right now is so strong for someone like a Victor, especially with the prevalence of infiltrators in the meta.
Oh, that feels bad, that Vayne carry.
Yeah.
When you play League of Legends and TFT, that was a good tumble. Well, who was just against? That was the AlphaGo. So, AlphaGo, the person who's kind of front running.
Real quick. Don't do what Koro just did, which is buy your shop and then sell it. Because honestly, if you're holding on to like an Aurelia, and we look back over at Zhuanzi, who's playing Blade Masters, you've just put that Aurelia back into the pool for him to pick up.
Oh, yeah.
So you're better off holding on to, even if you don't want to buy them, hold on to them into your shop, so then you're not just sticking them back into the pool for your opponents to take. I know they're super, super small, minute differences in probability, but every little helps.
Have a look at Koro again after what was a pretty close call. Not going to be the same case. AlphaGo was very, very happy letting that faint free fire into the mech. But this time around, it's not going to be the same. And kind of looking at AlphaGo versus an old version of his comp.
And Moonlight's really stabilized here with that cybernetics.
Yeah.
He's looking a lot better right now. So good to see that he has managed to find this opportunity to stabilize, especially as you said, he fully rolled down, so needed to strike gold. And now that he has the cybernetics, can look to, especially off a streak, get that goal back up, push towards 8, find his echo.
There's no Negatron Cloak here. Did we actually
so look at your top
bit about
where? No, he's moved down now. So he is Zhuanzi is third from the bottom. Still no Negatron. So he is
a lot of
really
recurves
so now he's got the last opportunity for him to find these components is going to be this next creep round. Otherwise, we end up getting into stage 5, which is those fully completed items on both the carousel and on towards Kane as well. So he's praying heavily that he manages to get something.
And then what? What do you fill in if you can't find the Negatron cloak?
I think he's already put the recurve on towards.
He has.
Yeah, so maybe Gwinsu's yeah. It's not ideal. The whole reason, oh my god, that really is stacked.
Well,
so 2 things. Okay, we're gonna go back. The whole reason that Master Yi works is because you're hitting multiple members with this Ruinance Hurricane. They are the core items. You need to hit them for him to be able to take over. And that's why as we talked about, Zhuangzi is going to start falling down because he couldn't find them. Look at him. He's on 40 health right now, which is not where you want to be. This for Moonlight, though, Moonlight is in a fantastic spot. That double Giant Slayer is going to completely screw over the mech.
Yeah.
It's going to completely screw over this Nico as well, because with that Warmog's attached to her as well, she's now hit the threshold where you're going to deal extra damage to her as well.
Holy.
You're in a great spot.
Yeah, just keep your eyes on this vein. So,
like you can see, every hit is dealing so much damage. So overall, Moonlight has massively stabilized. And
yeah.
This is what we're talking about, is that Moonlight has kind of started to show himself as this really strong player in the last couple of games. We saw him on the Star Sorcerers in the last game. He finished super high. I think he was 3rd or 4th in game number 1 as well. Like, I think there's a couple of guys now that we do have to keep our eyes on, especially not only for that number 1, number 2 place spot, but certainly as we start to progress in towards day 3 for that redemption day.
I was just noticing, I believe it was, as we went through and had a quick look. We are currently on Zhuangzi, and he's got the level 3 Shen with the front line with Bramble and GA. Now, we were mentioning how the Negatron cloak wasn't there for the Yi, but at the very least, the front line is going to give you a bit more time. You're okay, you can cough. That's all right, Dagda.
I thought I hit the cough. But either way, I think we can go towards system. Maybe, if he really wants to, the Giant Slayer here for Yi. He's going to, like, he's hoping and praying he gets a Negatron in this next creep round. Otherwise, I think Giant Slayer might be your best option. Unless you want to wait, like, not even for, I think it'd be 6-3 will be the next opportunity before you can try and find a Negatron. And when you're on 27 health, that's not going to look
It was such a good setup, such a good game when we consider this Galactic Armory. Kind of set him up to succeed. And no one else is doing Blade Masters.
And that's the thing, is that it's not the units that are contested. It's the fact that
the items.
He's got more dogged. He's just got more dogged on several of these carousels where he hasn't been able to get a Negatron cloak, and it's just not working out for him at all.
Let's see what the item drop is here. This is kind of like the make or break, because if Zhuangzi gets close to top 3, then he will probably just go through based on points. So this is everything. The RNG, luck of the draw, recurve and BF.
No!
Oh,
it's
man.
so sad. I mean,
all right, Dagda.
Maybe double rapid fire, or you can go with that Giant Slayer that we talked about. When there's the mech in the game, I don't think Giant Slayer would be the worst opportunity here. But yeah, this is, you can see it on his face. Zhuangzi does not look happy right now. And I think maybe going Giant Slayer, which is going to be the call, in towards like the GA on your Aurelia.
Okay.
Or yeah, I think GA on your Aurelia is the best bet here. But this is heartbreaking for Zhuangzi. He was set up so well.
Yeah.
And the only person that we talked about to go for this Blade Master build, after all, like, because we're on that Galactic Armory, we saw those early the early recurve bows coming through. Everyone had at least that one recurve. Multiple people having 2-3 recurve bows, but unfortunately wasn't quite able to finish it off. Now, still manages to win out that one, which is going to be massive for him. And if he can get to this Yi 3, there is still an opportunity to place high into that top 4. But certainly with the build that he has right now, it's going to be really difficult for him to get that top 1, top 2 finish.
We'll keep tracking here. We are moving across the board, still looking at Zhuangzi, but it was Koro who took the biggest, hardest hit. And now on the bottom. Now, Dagda, this man has been in a very famous LPL organization. He won the first ever MSI, and he could be the first player out of TOC, so that's a very hard hill to fall off of. It's
not looking
definitely, retirement was not as prime and, you know, as pleasant as one would think. And are we now looking at Koro? Yes, we are.
We're
all right, Koro.
Moonlight at the moment. We're looking at Moonlight,
are we?
who
What a
has
shame.
lost his last 2 rounds, which is pretty surprising because he actually has a really strong composition. This is when he should be able to win. Again, you see how quickly he gets through this Nico. So he should be fine with this Vayne to carry through, but he does need to be super careful. Vayne just about dodging away from these knockups as well. But Ooh, the CC might hurt him on the bottom side of your screen, though. Victor not able to hold it out. He's still alive. He's still alive. Just about.
And Shikeka is the same. Look, our boys are back. You know, the seeded players are probably facing elimination here. 7th and 8th, remember, you don't get a second chance, and that is the consistent score throughout.
Yeah, 1 point and 2 point apiece. I mean, you're pretty much counting yourself out of this place, especially after they did the same last game. It's not looking too good.
No. So we'll obviously get a confirmation at the end, but Shikeka, look, it's either first or last at this point.
And he's gone for this mech again.
Yep.
The static shiv not going to do too much for this Shaco either. You do get some auto attacks up, but not a heap.
All right, let's watch them lose or win together, Dagda. We did this in game 2, and now we're doing it again. And I think Shikeka is.
Actually, maybe not. I think this is actually the best opportunity for Shikeka. So when you look at that top left screen, maybe?
Hard to see, isn't it?
Oh
no!
Oh,
they died together, though, again.
So
the boys go out in
That was
style.
so close. So Shikeka had built a slightly different style of mech where he'd gone for the Hand of Justice, which gave it a little bit of dodge. And when you see a bunch of Giant Slayers in the game, you can tend towards a more dodge-orientated mech, because it means that then the Giant Slayers just don't hit as often, so you can actually survive that little bit longer. And that was nearly enough dodges for him to survive. Yeah. One more, and he would have been safe, but not quite able to do so. And Koro and Shikeka will find themselves out with Moonlight as well. So Moonlight Cybernetics not quite able to carry him across the line.
Much like EDG and IG, these two lads bow their head after getting slapped. So,
Jesus.
Well, just, you know, like father, like son, organization, like player. Dagda, we got our top 6 left remaining for the top 5.
So Zhuangzi has just hit that E3 as well. Okay. He picked it up a little while ago, so he's in a pretty good spot. We're looking over at Jinghua here, who is actually in a really good spot. He's got his Star Guardians, he's got his Sorks online, strong front line, also has that Janna, who not quite level 2, but still having that Guinsoo's means she'll be ramping up very quickly when it comes to the mana. So this is pretty prime position now for Jinghua here. If he can, it's kind of hard. He's super low on 19 health, so I agree with the committal for the all-in. At this stage, I think when you're looking towards certainly going and getting your Janna 2 as your main upgrade, might be better off just saving your money here, even though you're low, and going towards that level 9 instead.
Janna paid a bit of dividends.
Oh, there we go, though!
The Syndra again.
Yeah, Zhuangzi's out. He's not going to be able to finish this off. His main damage source is gone.
You have a level 3 Yi, level 3 Shen. Man, imagine if you got the Negatron cloak. Would it have been different? I'm not sure, because that was...
No. Well, if you had the Negatron cloak, yeah, completely different. Yeah. Because you're going to be hitting 2 members at once, you're dealing so much damage, especially the true damage on the ultimate from the Yi. But unfortunately, not having that AoE damage hurts you so much. It gives a lot of time towards the Syndra or any composition to deal damage to your front line.
That was perma CC, though. I mean, the Janna, the Nico, he attacked twice and then just died to Syndra ulti, so... really nice here from Jinghua, and we've got our top 4. And in the top 4, AlphaGo in a very good position. If he gets first or second here, most likely he'll be going straight through to that regional final on the last day. The regional final. That's the goal.
We're looking again, Achen going for the Star Guardian Sork build as well, against the Star Guardian Sork build. So this all comes down to the ultimates from this Syndra, also the ultimates from the Janna. The thing is, though, when you've got this Guinsoo's on Chinghua's Janna, might be able to eke out one more, but they're deleted there. And fortunately for Jinghua, I don't think he has the health to survive this.
Oh, God, I hate Syndra.
Just about.
What's your hate tier list at the moment? Shake goes up there for me. Syndra's close. Janna's in there.
Gangplank.
Gangplank is on S tier hate.
Yeah, a GA Rabadon's Gangplank is the
How ridiculous. That was... bloody ridiculous. All right.
Oh, no, I don't like giving that to Xerath. No? So the thing with Xerath is he's all about attack speed. He's all about get to my ult and then just auto-attack like crazy. Getting to an ult with no attack speed, especially a level 1 Xerath, doesn't really do too much. I'd rather even see them sell the Xerath, go towards Victor. Yeah. Victor works far better as being able to work off of the mana battery that Star Guardians provide.
Hey, what do we get across the board? Mortal there. AlphaGo. Oh, he's powering to 9.
Yeah. Yeah, and there it is. That's the chrono that goes in now. Mana Reaver, crucially as well, which is super nice, especially against Dark Guardian compositions. If you can get Shen and Aurelia working, or sorry, not Shen, Thresh and Aurelia working their way through that back line, it becomes really difficult for like the likes of this Nico to ult. She ends up struggling even with that GA there, and you can get on towards the back line.
Feels really nice as well, having that Echo in the first slot, right? When you've got that 2 Infiltrator bonus. We'll have a look. Okay, Giant Slayer actually put in the inventory.
Hasn't been able to find that Infiltrator spatula though, so it is only the single Echo who doesn't get to ult. Oh, that could actually hurt, having the Vayne CC'd, but does manage to dodge away from these Jan ults. Gonna need to keep doing that. Vayne is not oozy today though, but it doesn't matter.
AlphaGo might have just, I think he might have just gotten close to securing top 2 at this point, because Beta has had a pretty rough 3 games already. Ancient has been back and forth, but AlphaGo has kind of been up in that top 4, so looking like the true star of today.
The thing is though, Zhuanzi has hit that 20 mark because he did finish in 5th, which means he will get the, so he has hit 4 points, sorry, he's at 19 points.
Ooh.
So that almost puts him across as well, so it could end up being AlphaGo and Zhuanzi who are the 2 that end up finishing up here.
All I saw was the chat. They're actually talking to each other. Nizema is what I saw at the top, which normally Nizema means how are you? So Nizema, how did you? Like, how did you do that? If anyone speaks Mandarin, feel free to correct me. But
as a man who doesn't, I won't.
I'm kind of sad it's not, you know, a bit of trash talk. Like your comp's garbage or something.
So this is what we're talking about, is that if you set up properly with your position here as a Star Guardian, Cybernetics really struggles against this. This 2-star Echo, though, with this static Shiv is doing a lot of work towards that backline, but they're just not able to get through it. I actually would have preferred to see the Frozen Heart on towards the Echo instead, but there you go, Beta able to knock out AlphaGo.
So what are we left with, Dagda? We still got this Star Guardian comp that netted out and destroyed the other one.
We got Star Guardian on both sides.
Oh, do we?
So yeah, this is going to come down to that. Level 2 Janna, I think, is going to be the difference maker over on Achin's side. Like, that level 2 Janna is just going to ult so much faster. Having that CC plus that attack speed boost come off of the Janna could make such a massive difference here. Really want to see that Nico, especially here from Beta, move towards the front line. Like, that Rakan is just, like, you're not going to get anything out of him. And you want to make sure that Nico is the one that's taking all this damage, especially where the Syndra's positioned here for Beta.
Baiting in the hook at the very least of the Rakan. This could be it. And Beta, it was a very rough day for him.
Ooh, really? Those ults coming through from Beta's Janna are doing a little bit more work though here. So, no, not quite able to. There you go. You can see the difference there. That level 2 on that Janna is just providing so much more attack speed and being able to ult a lot faster. Janna with blue buff, that is going to be what both these guys are gunning for. Holy moly, that is so sad. Beta's like, why did it have to go that end?
Feels bad. What's the second best here?
Maybe Star Guardian, I think.
Yeah.
Also, the Redemption isn't a bad shout. You can put that on towards the Rakan in the front line. So this is where, if you're going to put this Redemption onto Rakan, move your Nico to the front. Rakan will die a little bit later. It's after you've taken a little bit of damage, but you can see at least trying to swap around here. There you go. Nico in the front is the way you want this composition to be played. And now it actually looks like you're going to see a last-second Redemption coming in instead. So holding off, waiting to see what unit's about to die, and throwing it in at the perfect time, especially when you're 1 win away here.
Yeah, feels like the potential last fight.
Yeah, if you can beat Achin here, you're in such a good spot. Well, actually, we're going to see the Redemption going over to Lulu. Not the greatest time in the Redemption. Does get an ult off, though, which gives the opportunity for them to take care of this front line. But it's all about these ults. The Syndra is both still alive. The GA on towards...
but that level 2 Janna, man.
It's just... I mean, yeah, it's very much coming down to these ult placements. If maybe Beta can take out this Janna early, he can get away with it, but that level 2 Janna is paying dividends right now.
All right, Dagda, what changes it, though? What brings it to that final fruition?
A level 2 Janna.
A level 2 Janna, there we go.
Which kind of sucks, because he doesn't even have one sitting on his bench, and it does feel like at this stage, there's not a huge amount Beta can do. Achin should be taking that first place finish.
All right. Well, Achin needs the points desperately. We'll get that tally done after for you as well. Remember, top 2 will secure themselves straight into the final day. They get to go home and rest. And then 3rd to 6th with the redemption bracket that comes up in a couple of days. While we split screens, even though we're kind of watching the same fight. That's okay. You know, why not? Interesting.
Either way, though, we're still seeing the same issues here. Level 2 Janet doing a lot of work. Does get sniped off, though. That could actually be the difference maker here. The Singers are still going at each other's throats. I think maybe with that snipe, he's done it.
Maybe.
Oh my God, he
Can't
actually
really see
has
much.
that Janna snipe coming in clutch for Beta. Just manages to eke it out.
Oh, Dagda, I'll be honest, I missed the last fight because I couldn't really see much there. Well, who won?
Beta won.
Okay, great.
Beta's Syndra just about managed to snipe the level 2 Jan in the back line, which meant that there wasn't that the CC coming through, the attack speed buff as well wasn't coming through, and it just about gave the opportunity for the Syndras to go head to head. 2 GAs were popped, and it was Beta Syndra that managed to just...
Hey, Beta got some points. That's good. Because Beta was being the Beta in that whole series long in the best of 3. But there you have it.
And the big thing here is that first and second place finish is worth so much more, because it's 10 points for first, 8 points for second, then we drop towards 6. So the fact that you've got this first place finish now for Beta could just be enough to shove him straight back up the tables. Now, I don't think, based on his last performances, that it will be enough to put him into that top 2 finish, but definitely it changes a lot of the way that our bracket is starting to look at.
Yeah, I think for our top 2, I'm going to be pleasantly surprised. But what has been the comp today that's impressed you? What's excited you?
Well, actually, I'm going to be more... The thing that surprised me was how few mechs we saw and how low of a finish they end up getting in a lot of situations as well. I felt like that super high roll, or sorry, that... full roll when you got to that level 7, where you just end up gifting over all this gold, not actually hitting the comps that you need or the champions that you need for these compositions. Didn't quite work out. I think the Star Guardian Protectors, you can see, looking super strong still here as well. Cybernetics as well is another big one for me. I think the space part is not one we're going to see anytime in this tournament, but certainly we're starting to get the overall view of what our top 2 comps are.
I'm kind of upset we didn't see any, the GPs, the builds we talked about.
Yeah.
With the
well, the thing, that's why I was kind of surprised to not see the mech as much.
Yeah.
Because the way that the mech works so well is, hey, look, let's get to 8, let's get to 9, get these GPs with a Guardian Angel and the Rabadons, and you so quickly delete teams. Like, especially a Star Guardian team that is super squishy, you can do a lot of work, but just never really say, oh, come out.
Well, you got to pile through all the characters just to get through to that Syndra and the Janna. But ladies and gentlemen, Beta with the win here, and AlphaGo second. This is going to be probably a top 2 guarantee for AlphaGo.
It will be, yeah. Especially when we look at, I mean, a first place, then a second place. He's pretty much guaranteed to go in as one of our top 2. But we'll get confirmation when our points come up on the screen in just a few. But still, fantastic play coming through from AlphaGo, and being able to adjust on the fly in this game 3 as well, because we were seeing, hey, look, he was struggling quite a bit in those early stages, but was able to bring that back off of some good rolls.
Yes, he was. Quick highlights here running through.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're going to have just a couple of the early stage plays. Juanza, I feel so bad for not being able to find a Negatron cloak the entire time. And you could see him slipping further and further down the line, where he just, even hiding that Yi 3, didn't have the runes to deal with that rapid fire damage as well. And it ended up just falling apart for him. Same when we look at Koro. Slamming these early Titans Resolve was not the play, and he finds himself holding hands with Shikeke down to the bottom side. I mean, LPL Pro players live together, die together.
LPL Pro players, but oh, look at that Uzi sidestep. LPL Pro players, but not TFT pros, apparently. Well, that's all right. Hey, everyone has their day. Everyone has their day in the sun.
And then you can see the difference maker there for that Master Yi as well. Like, look at how low this team actually goes. If you have that extra little bit of AoE damage, that's the difference maker in a lot of these fights. And very unfortunate for Juanza, but then we get here to AlphaGo, sitting on that 9 HP for so long. Does end up falling, and then we move over. Or sorry, yeah, it does end up falling there. Still, though, these have been incredible finishes here on both sides.
Yeah, we just get Syndras flailing at each other in the end as well, don't we?
Yeah, but you can see, look, this is where it makes the big difference, is right at the end there, Beta being able to pick off that Syndra there meant that he was able to just fly in towards that top spot.
We are waiting for our standings to get wrapped up and then find out who our top 2 is, so we immediately progressed into Who's going into the redemption bracket? I have to say, I think Shikeke or Koro are probably getting eliminated at the very least. And then, I don't know.
But that just means we get the rest of our crew are going to be moving forward. Because honestly, I mean, Shikeke and Koro both got 7th and 8th place finishes in 2 games. So by default, they only match the points that you've got in one of the games for the other team, so or for one of the other players. So overall, it is unfortunate. I believe it'll be Koro and Shikeke moving out. But I mean, fair dues to the rest of the guys here who have been able to now move forward, either straight into the finals in that 1st or 2nd place finish, or as we progress in towards day 3 of our redemption.
Yeah. And what are you doing later, Rob?
Probably playing TFT.
Probably playing TFT, fair enough. I was thinking a bit of TFT. I was thinking maybe a beverage.
Oh.
You know, maybe one that is the same color as this. Blue Lagoon or whatever. I don't know. I was trying to. I was thinking.
I was like, what beer are you drinking, lad? That's not what beer looks like.
You've been to the Matrix, man. Blue beer. Oh, sorry, not the Matrix. The Matrix is the fake world, isn't it? Yeah, that is the Matrix. Yeah, the real world is. It's been a while since I watched those movies. No, have you?
Are you sure you haven't had a few already?
No.
I don't know what way
I'm
this
good.
is going.
I'm very good. I was just thinking, you know, what cocktail is made out of blue? Like a blue lagoon. That's something that
blue.
Something that you know.
That Lulu drinks, I'd imagine.
I don't actually know what I could make out of blue. You need blue curacao or whatever, however you say it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You're the bartender. You're the one who's supposed to be talking.
I used to be. I'm not a bartender anymore, otherwise I wouldn't be here. But yeah, we are waiting for those standings to come through, ladies and gentlemen. And you know, while TFT is the game.
Yeah, I'll take it. Don't worry. Look,
take it away.
I think overall, I think when we look towards these compositions, I think the really interesting thing, as we talked about, was the Cybernetics looking great, the Star Guardian Sorcerers looking amazing. The one that did surprise me, actually, now coming back to that question that Jazz Luago, just looking at my notes here, was the Darkstar. I didn't expect it to perform as well in a lot of these situations, and could slot in now as this consistent performer, because I think especially when you're looking at like day 1 and day 2 to make sure you're consistently getting high place finishes, I think that could be the port of call here. Not looking like it's particularly well contested, a little bit through those Astro Sniper compositions, but more so if you can go for the Shaco carry, you can go towards something like the Jin, you could look absolutely fantastic. So I think overall we will probably see a mix-up when we come into tomorrow with just people from Group B watching today, learning from people's mistakes, seeing the likes of these Cybernetics with the Giant Slayers working super well against the Star Guardian compositions and against these mech compositions. So I think we will start to see a little bit of a shake-up in our meta, even from day 1 to day 2.
And tomorrow we got Godlike as well, which is exciting. You know, the Royal Club top laner that we saw way back here at Season 3 Worlds. So was also on the same roster as Uzi in his debut year of League of Legends. Also his debut year, he made it to Worlds. So see if he's any better than Koro and Shikeke.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I think Kitties was such a better name.
Yeah.
Kitties by far.
Kid and Kitties. It was just like...
Great name. And then he went to Shikeke. And it's I can't say she cake, you know. It's Shikeke. The hardest name coming into today to say.
I don't know. I've struggled with a lot of these. I tend to struggle with the Chinese. I haven't learned. I'm trying to learn Chinese at the moment, but I actually haven't got a chance to go to lessons. So now I still struggle with all the intonations and everything else.
Just gotta get that pinyin nailed down, dude. Yeah. Pinyin takes like 10-20 hours just alone. You know, my starting lesson. I don't want to brag, but
you're pretty good at this stage.
Hey,
I gotta say.
Hey, today I was getting Drenza messed up a lot. So a lot, absolute lot. It's hard. You know, if anyone out there wants to learn Chinese, take my advice. Get a book, study hard, and do it straight. Consistency is the key, right? And so is it for TFT, to relate things in.
Yeah, and I think, speaking of that consistency, like looking towards Drenza, consistently performing well, we end up with that first place finish. Then coming in, he's still got his fifth place or fourth place finish, wasn't it? Into those 5 points, which put him into 15.
I think so, yeah.
I'm curious to see what he's hit now, because there is a very high potential that is Drenza and AlphaGo that are now moving forward into our top 2 spot. But obviously, because of the super high points that first place spot takes, I'm curious to see exactly what way we did end up rounding out things. Overall, though, I think looking at the the way today has gone, I think slamming some of these early ubiquitous items has looked really, really strong. So the likes of the Morello Nomicon early, because it's just good in multiple different compositions, has worked out super well. Same when we look towards some of these early, like the Shrouds, the GAs, these kind of plays. So even the blue buffs as well have worked out super strong. Even if you find an early Bard, you can slip that onto him. So I think we're definitely seeing the more aggressive usage of items has really paid dividends here in a lot of situations, keeping that mid-game health bar at a level where you're not falling super far behind and forced to roll at level 6, level 7, where you're not hitting the legendary units that will really carry you into that top 4 finish, and then you end up just falling behind anyway when we get to this like stage 5.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we are still waiting for standings running through to see who makes it through, and I believe we're also setting up an interview, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So, see, we get to talk to one of the players. There we go. Oh my God, we have a tie. So what happens now? TFT with 3 people. We have to do it again. Guys, we're going onto the Rift. Howling Abyss 1v1. Let's go. And you know what? I was right. Koro and Shigeki down the bottom. Oh no, what a horrible day.
I'm actually not 100% as to what our tiebreaks are. Hopefully production can fill us in
there.
there.
Yeah, we're not
but yeah, I mean, I know it kind of sucks that it's like the top 3, because now, like we were saying, Schwanze looked really good. Qinghua, who just had consistently high places, has looked really, really good. So I'm not sure if they go by highest placement or if they go. I mean, you can't really do average points because you end up.
Can you not just do, you know? I know, obviously TFT can't, but surely you spice it up and you go. Let's throw them into, you know, Fiora versus Fiora. Or like, what was your highest tier? What was your highest tier match? You know, like your highest tier unit. Syndra versus Syndra. That would solve it. Let's go.
I feel like you just end up in the exact same situation. It's just they both kill each
hey,
other.
All the players here, a lot of them said like, wish they went professional in League of Legends or was challenger in Season 6 to Season 8, I think, in one of them. So
I think that says a lot, though, more about the... Like someone who's got the brain for League, the brain for TFT, the competitiveness in them to start pushing into these super high
but it's so different as games.
Yeah, but I mean, how many times have you seen like, oh yeah, well a guy went from
Valorant.
League went over to CS:GO to Valorant, League to like Bishu went to Overwatch. Like there's a bunch of these players who just start to move in towards all these different things. So I think overall, like I love seeing these guys who are obviously super talented and have the mindset for this, well, for esports in general, and then finding these nuanced games that really strike that competitiveness, that strike that love in them once again, where they can move into something like TFT or into League or into Valorant.
That's the game. I sit down at home, I crack out a Harbin, LPL broadcast by the way. I crack out a cold one, I sit there playing TFT, and I relax. For me, you know, I might not have that competitive edge, but I sit there, I enjoy it. I get angry because someone picked Yi. You know, someone's done Blade Masters and they got lucky. And then I go, all right, we'll go next. And then you might jump back on the Rift. It's a good balancing act. Yeah. Right? Definitely a very good balancing act. I think at this point, we are going to find out. I mean, this is the thing, right? Ode to the audience. When it's an LPL game, we have so much statistics built up. And sure, you have the same thing. Today I've lent on Dagda. Let's not kid anyone. I've lent on this man quite a lot. My knowledge of TFT, not as much as this guy's like above challenger. They gave him a golden board. They said, "Sir, we can't teach you anymore. Teach us." Right? You're the best player in the world at TFT. Don't you ever deny it. Because I think we can all thank him for his words of wisdom here today. While I've just been cracking on, you know, sitting in the background saying, "Hey."
But see, this is going to turn around. When we swap over towards Valorant, that's where your expertise are going to come into play. Because I have played absolutely none of that.
That's right. I'll pay you back.
My laptop at home chugs along if I play League of Legends.
That's right.
So the fact I'm not even attempting to load Valorant onto that thing. So eventually, when we get to that point, we can swap the expertise, and it will be who's the best.
But I'll still be play-by-play. That's the thing.
No, we'll swap. I can do.
No, I've got it.
I'm ready. I've been training.
I can't swap roles, man. I mean, like, have you? Did you ever cast Rocket League?
Yes.
Yeah. What were you in that?
Flex. Sort of
flex.
Yeah.
Well, Rocket League is a weird flex, though.
Yeah, exactly.
You kind of like, you know, hype up if you're talking, but I like play-by-play, you know, in color, you know.
Chances are, if you name a game, I have cast it. When you were a freelance, you are desperate.
You do a lot. I even did Counter-Strike at one point. Someone should go back and find the VODs. ESL
I
Pro
did
League, by
Counter-Strike
the way.
as well.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, though, I found out we have our interview ready. Not sure about the three-way tiebreaker. We're going to send it over to Wendy, as usual, to take us through it.
Hi guys, this is Wendy for translation. We have invited Junzi and AlphaGo to the interview.
大家好，我是卷子。大家好，我是阿发狗。
好，欢迎二位。其实我第一个问题先问卷子。
The first question is for Junzi. So, why your ID is Junzi? Because Junzi is like the test papers in Chinese. Because I like study in school. That's why I just use this ID. And for me, this name comes from the AlphaGo. And actually, for today's game, the three of you got the same points, but then two of you are able to get into the finals. So how do you feel? Do you feel like you're quite lucky? For Junzi, I feel relieved. I'm very nervous. And also, I counting the points by myself, and I'm not sure about that. And then after I thought the board of the points, I feel relieved. For me, I just play myself. And you are able to get into the finals. Definitely, you have put in a lot of effort. And in the online selection, AlphaGo, you are the 5th, and Junzi at the 3rd place. So how do you feel about today's matchup? Because you are able to get the win. I have the communications with other teammates in current meta. Cybernetic is very, I think it's suitable to me, so that's why I'm able to get the victory for today. And for Junzi, your higher style match up with your ability. If you have a very short hair, your ability will be stronger. So how do you feel? I'm looking for some haircut shops. I really want to get a very short hair. And also for today's game is really tense. Both of you are able to get the top one. In game 1, Junzi, you use Fizz, so how do you feel? I feel like there's so many people that using Mac, so I just try to use Fizz and avoid other people to get that champion. And then why you use the stillness that atom? Because at that situation, because there's so many Star Guardians, so it's very that item will be better for me. And also, I got the Nearest Red Road at that situation. It would be better for me to get that item. That's why I just chose this. And for AlphaGo, in game 2, you're able to get the championship. And you have used Chris Blank in the early phase. So how did you able to use that such effectively? Because I just to avoid Star Guardians. And also, this can target on the snipers. You really need to base on the Blitz prank in the early phase, and also maybe change the position of that champion. And also in game 3, some other opponents have used it as well. So how do you feel? Because I knew only that opponents and me got the Chris Blank, so I just changed my position to target on him. And now next question is for Junzi. How do you feel about to face against with Chris Blank? I think it's very hard because you really have to put 2 champions around your main champions. So it's really hard to target on the Chris Blanks. And you have 3 players got the same scores. So which part do you think you didn't do that well, or what kind of mistakes did you make? I think in game 3, I still use a cybernetic, but the opponents got 3-star guardians. If the Sandra target on my main champions, it's very hard for me to get the damage. I have 3 tiers and 3 vests, so it's very hard for me to build my item. And then I knew there are 3-star guardians, so I just try to move my Master E in the front lane. And then the Nico just targeted on my Master E. That's why I didn't manage to get the victory in game 3. And now you are able to get into the final. After today's matchup, do you feel you have built up some confidence? Because you are pursuing the tickets for the TFT Galleries Championship. I think I still get the hope if I got the good items. There's many people thought I do the streaming for entertainment, but then for today's game, I just want to prove myself. I have another question for you guys. So are you good at League of Legends as well? Because you are very good at TFT. For AlphaGo, he's on the Diamond. And for Juanzi, previously I was the Master. And thank you again. And I'm looking forward to for your performance, and hope you guys can get the tickets for the Galleries Championship. And that is the end of the interview.
Thank you very much, Wendy, and good to hear from the 2 guys that made it out, AlphaGo and Juanzi, who we saw consistently up and towards the rankings. And I just remembered, you know, even though we have that 3-way tie, of course the consistency across the board with more higher placements is better than, as we saw in 3rd. So I believe it was a beta in 3rd. If I wasn't sure, we'll have a quick look here. Ready? Ready? Tsinghua. So because Tsinghua, you look across, and the more average standings, the 10th place, the 10 points on Juanzi makes all the difference in the world. So first place standings matter a lot here.
And imagine just that 2nd place finish in game number 1 is what made that difference there. Not quite being able to hit the 1st place really does end up meaning a lot for Tsinghua. But I think actually, listening to the 2 guys, I think we would have found out what happened if we got a Fiora 1v1 between the guys. Impressed to see their League of Legends skill as well. Diamond and Masters. So, yeah, but either way, I think well played by a lot of these guys. And definitely, even though Tsinghua wasn't able to quite progress straight away into the finals, he's still one of my favorites coming in towards like the redemption day, because in that situation it would be the top 4 who are progressing on, which makes it a little bit easier. And I definitely think he'll be one of the players that can push into that spot.
Everyone else pretty much goes forward. Redemption spot for everyone else, bar Shikeke and Koro, who are going home a little bit empty-handed, unfortunately. And I don't know, we saw them get absolutely slaughtered in the games 2 and games 3 especially, and pretty unfortunate when you know, once pro player, you got a reputation to behold, and that happens. Well, yeah.
And look, their League of Legends one isn't touched at least. TFT, different game, different. It's all right. It's okay, guys. We got you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, day 1 of TSC is pretty much done. Apart from thanking Dagda, thanking our English production. Oh, it's silver now. How nice. Very nice way to start off, I think. Thanks for bearing with me. It is bye for now, but not forever. We'll see you tomorrow.